Hello there. Welcome to the Force Collective, and today we are back with another episode of Star Wars Topics. This is part 3 to the last 2 episodes, but before we get into the main topics at hand, we were going to talk about Star Wars Visions, but we're going to talk about it in a non-spoiler way, because I know not everybody's seen it yet. Sorry, I wait, but that's besides the point. But anyways, no, seriously, we'll do a non-spoiler, and then maybe probably next week we'll do like a full-on spoiler discussion about it. We'll just do like our initial thoughts and stuff. Keep it short because we got a long discussion at hand. We also have like one more thing we want to talk about, and I said I was going to read the article while we were getting ready for stream, but I was too busy eating and forgot. So fun times. Yeah, let's go ahead and just give our initial thoughts, and maybe we will convince our AOA to watch it tonight or something. I don't know. Or whoever hasn't watched it, for that matter.
I haven't either, so he and I are in the same camp.
Oh, no. Okay,
I need to catch up.
Okay, well, so I'll just go ahead and say we've been sort of talking about it in the Discord today, me and Chrono have, and at first, I was sort of mixed. I'm like, well, this don't feel right, you know? But then I started to gradually like it because it is its own thing, and I do realize that it's multiple different studios working on Star Wars and envisioning it in their own way. So it's not like one cohesive story, but you can make a story out of each of them. In a way, all these little 15 to 20-minute episodes are like a pilot episode for their own Star Wars anime. Some of them were good. Some of them not so good and didn't make like a whole lot of sense. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's one episode in particular that I'm going to look up the name of it now that I wasn't actually a fan of. It's probably the only one that I wouldn't watch again, only because I'm not a fan of it. Not because it's terrible. The animation is really good. Oh, it's TOB1 or Toby. TOB1. Yeah.
And just to
Obi-Wan in it.
Hello there. Go ahead.
Just to clarify, as I recall, these are not, at least according to corporate, these are not connected to the quote official canon in any way. They're just their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, and once again, it will be interesting once I watch them what I think of them, but I do like that they're doing that. I'd like to frankly see Lucasfilm be more open to that and just letting, not feeling the need to have like everything that we create must be part of this canon, because then, if done right, that can satisfy more people. You can potentially have things like, if people like some of the stories or characters from the sequels, they can, have those and even experiment with them further, but not have them destroy someone else's sandbox, if that makes sense.
And they can also decanonize the sequel trilogy.
Yes. Yes.
Opening doors, people. They're opening doors. So, yeah, the only episode I probably won't go back and watch again is the 6th one. There's actually quite a few really good ones. But my favorite ones are The Duel. Let's see. The Village Bride. The Night Jedi. The Elder. And I actually like the last two as well. La Pinocho and Akakiri. I think that's how it's pronounced. Akakiri. Something like that. All those were really good. I like the way the last one ended. I hate it but like it at the same time. It's I don't want to say anything too much about it, but it's like usually you expect things to go one way, but they don't go.
Yeah, it was unexpected the way it ended.
Yeah, it's very plot twisty. So if you haven't watched it, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. It's really good. The animation style changes between episodes. Some of them are very similar. I think the ones with the best animation style, though, ended up probably being like the first one, which is the duel. I really like the Elders animation. That was really good. Akakiri was unique. I liked its animation. I will say one thing about TOB1. Its animation was really good. I like the style that they were going with. I just don't like the episode. And I'm sure I'm probably not the only one, but it's not bad by any means. It can be like we can separate these from Star Wars and say, yeah, these are really good in their own way. You know, they don't. If you don't tie them to Star Wars, you can say, yeah, this is good. I would probably want to see more of it. And you know what? I probably would want to see more of it, but maybe not so much in the Star Wars universe. But that's okay. I mean, I like it. It's not my favorite. Probably won't watch it again unless I wanted to go through a marathon of watching all of them. But yeah, I don't really have any major gripes about this except for maybe the third one where no, I can't spoil anything. The third one has like one thing about it, and this ain't really much of a spoiler. So I'll go ahead and say it, and it's going to bug you guys when you watch it because, or at least it did me. I don't know how it did you, Chrono, but it bugged me when I seen this. But they were out in space fighting without any oxygen tanks or anything. They were just out in space. Did that bug you?
The main issue with that episode, I mean, visuals can be pretty subjective when it comes to sometimes do sometimes really don't exactly care too much. But in this case, they really didn't care at all for physics. They really went out of their way to do flashy stuff, and like you said, they forgot about the fact that they were in outer space. There was no gravity. They were breathing and talk, and a lot of the things they did just wouldn't fly. I mean,
Yeah.
If they hadn't done it that way, the episode could have been great because the main idea for that episode is great.
Yep. I feel like if they had stayed indoors, I would have. Even the final scene when the Star Destroyer gets, but I'm not going to say anything about that. Not too much. You'll know it when you see it. Even I'll even look over that because I can almost in a way rationalize why that would be possible. But
and they already did it in Revenant.
Yeah, I think they did it better. Yeah, I think they did it better than a certain other thing that I won't say anything until next week. You two better watch it. You two better watch it by next week. I want to talk about this.
Well, if you had to said something earlier.
Well, I figured everybody was keeping track. I guess not. Nah, I'm just kidding. But I forgot too. The only reason why I knew that it was out already is because first of all, I forgot the date. And then when I seen somebody on YouTube talking about reviewing the episodes, I'm like, are they already out? So I went and watched them all yesterday before I fell asleep, believe it or not. That's another story for another time for those that are watching the stream because I was telling this story before the stream. So you won't know what I'm talking about when I say before I went to sleep on Wednesday. So that's inside joke for now. I might tell that later. The thing is, like, I forgot, and I for some reason, I was very excited about Star Wars Visions. I was thinking like it's going to be like Halo Legends, which is it is like Halo Legends. If you want to compare it, if any of you have watched Halo Legends, which I'm pretty sure Chrono has, it's practically the same thing. It's not all anime. It's some of it is. Some of it's like 3D animation. Most of it's anime, though.
Maybe you should compare to the Animatrix instead, because most people would animate as opposed to Halo.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, it worked. I really liked what they did with it. They didn't go, like, over the top like they did in, let's say, Even though it's not a bad over the top, they sort of
But
went over the top in the
yeah,
third
it's the
episode.
same thing.
Yeah, it is the same thing. It's practically the same thing, and I like it when a franchise branches off like that. Because Halo Legends was personally one of my favorite things, and where they don't hardly make anything visual besides the games for Halo. I mean, you can read the books. There's probably some comics out there or something like that, but I'm talking about like on a screen. Something you watch. There's only a few things they got for that. So I'm thinking, I guess anything they provide is probably going to be pretty good. But they have like Fall of Reach. They have like not Halo Infinite. By the way, speaking of Halo Infinite, I was invited to the next flight, so I'll probably have some more videos on that once I get it working. For some reason, it says I'm not authorized, but I'll get that. I'll get it fixed. But what was it called? Nightfall.
Oni is on to you.
Huh?
Oni is on to you.
Forward Unto Dawn. That's the other one I'm trying to think of. I like it. I don't like Nightfall that much. We're not here to talk about Halo Legends or Halo. We're talking about Star Wars. What I'm trying to say is that Halo Legends was good, and it's practically the same thing as Star Wars Visions, and I like that, how some companies will branch off like that into something different. So it was actually a fresh look at Star Wars. I did like how they, even though it's not canon, I like how they sort of implemented certain things in there. In a way, some of them could work. I think The Village Bride, in a way, could have worked in current canon. I might have to go watch it again, but it takes place, I think, shortly after the Clone Wars ended, and there's droids in there, so that's not a major spoiler. You'll just see them. It mentions them a lot.
Actually, the Village Bride is probably the one that accomplishes the goal the best way possible, because the idea was to mix anime creators' vision and Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the one episode that actually manages to do a good balance between both, because most of the others, like for example, The Duel is a very good episode. It's graphically, it's great, and the action scenes and whatever. But the problem with that episode is that it doesn't feel like Star Wars. I mean, if you take away the lightsabers and the droids, it's just any other feudal Japan anime that has ever existed. It doesn't have a specific Star Wars element that makes it feel like Star Wars. It's like pick samurais and trade their katanas for lightsabers. That's all they did, and that is the one issue I have with that episode, because it's so good, and I feel like, yeah, it's good, but that's not Star Wars. It doesn't feel Star Wars in any way.
Yeah.
So I think that the Village Bride did what it. I'm not going to spoil the story because it's very good, but what they did with the story, it feels both anime and Star Wars at the same time.
Yeah, I can honestly agree with that. I think the only other one that accomplishes that feeling now, and you might feel a little bit differently. I don't know. The Ninth Jedi, I feel like it accomplishes that a little bit.
Yeah.
Though there's one gripe I have. They seem to add too many Sith. Now, maybe, I don't know if that's an issue for anybody else, and it might just be a minor thing, but they seem to add like way too many. I thought there was like a rule of 2. Now, depending on, I guess, whatever time era they want to put this in, it's not canon, and so it doesn't exactly follow the established lore that we currently have. And like I said, it's just somebody else's take on Star Wars. It's a unique one. And I guess I think my main problem, and I think that this is a problem for a lot of people, is that we're too attached to the main canon to appreciate what it is. So I'm willing to, like, I can separate it from the main canon and probably enjoy it much better if I do that. Because you'll be thinking, there's like 7 Sith here. Aren't there supposed to just be 2? It's just stuff like that.
Well, they're not Sith. They're kind of they call themselves Sith acolytes.
Oh, Yeah, I
Yeah,
must have missed that.
they say that in the episode. They call themselves. I don't remember if Sith or Dark Side acolytes. They don't call themselves Siths.
They've dedicated themselves to serving the dark side. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably okay. That's my bad. Now, I guess there's no difference with them than or there's no difference between them and Inquisitors then.
Yeah,
So,
probably.
okay, that makes me feel better about it. I thought they were all considering themselves Sith, and I was thinking that. I mean, I guess anybody that's a dark side user would consider themselves Sith, but I guess they're talking about Sith lords with the rule of two. I don't know. I'm going to look up the rule of two again because I want
As
to make sure I'm
Dooku
not.
told Ventress back in the animated Clone Wars, you are strong in the dark side, but you are no Sith.
Oh, okay. Okay,
That was
so
before he trained her.
that's true. So what else you have to say about that, Chrono? Because I've done most of the talking, so I'll let you say whatever you want.
I think the strongest point they have going for them is exactly that they embrace the fact that they didn't have to be canon and they didn't have to call on the legacy characters to perform. The only legacy character we ever got to see in one of the episodes was Boba Fett and Jabba, and that's it. They didn't rely on any other known and beloved characters to pull their episodes off, which was very, very worth praising, because it would be easy for anyone to just say, oh, let's put this character here and this one there. And we know they do it a lot. They did it with the Bad Batch. They kept inviting other characters to boost the show. In this case, they didn't do that. They really created their own vision of the Star Wars universe. And I really think if they intend to keep doing this with a season 2 with some other thing, I think they will get a good result. My only gripe with the whole thing is that they all did the same. If you watch any of the episodes, the only one that actually does something different is the one with the band. I think it's called Tatooine Rhapsody.
Yeah.
That episode actually did something different, but all other 8 episodes, they are all about people clashing with lightsabers. And that's not exactly a bad thing, but Star Wars is so much more than Jedi and Sith. They should really try to show different things in different episodes. I mean, you compare it to Halo Legends. In Halo Legends, we didn't have all episodes be about Master Chief taking down the Covenant.
Exactly.
Because if that would have been the case, it would be like, okay, this is cool, but it's not really expanding upon the established lore or the universe. It's just showing me more of the same. If I have a friend, for example, that he's super fan of bounty hunters, and if I were him, I would be like, where's the episode for bounty hunters? Or where's the episode for the Rebel Alliance? Where's the episode for the regular resistance? I don't know. They could go some. For example, I would have done. You probably remember. You guys watched the some time ago, and it's floating around the internet. This short about TIE fighters fighting X-Wings.
Yes.
Well, if you're a fan of Rogue Squadron or whatever, you expect to see something like that when they announce Star Wars Visions, and it didn't happen. We didn't even get spaceship battles.
That's true.
That is the one issue I have. It's a general issue. It's not with one episode specifically. It's that they didn't try hard enough to expand upon all the stuff they had to deal with.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were told to do it this way by executives. I don't know if they actually all wanted to do something kind of the same. I don't really know how this happened, but I think they missed the opportunity to make a compilation of 9 episodes that would really tell you what the Star Wars universe is about. Because so far, if you don't know Star Wars and you go into it by Visions, you will probably think it's all about people clashing with lightsabers.
That's true. That's true. And then when you get to The Last Jedi, you'll be super disappointed because no Jedi Sith stuff happens. Yeah. Not a single lightsaber touches in that movie. You'll be sorely disappointed. Now, I think the fourth episode, The Village Bride, I think that one sort of does things differently too. It's not all clash with lightsabers. The very end is the only time I think you see anybody ignite their lightsaber.
Only at the end, yeah.
And so it was more story than it was action, and that I liked it. I liked it. I liked the way they did that. The Ninth Jedi, it was a lot of lightsaber clashing, but I think the way they did it though worked. It was like a good balance between story and action. I really liked the plot twist at the end of that one, and the way they portrayed the lightsabers, how they are colorless until.
I don't know if you felt it that way too, but when I was watching the Ninth Jedi and they get to the end, when you see the twist and everything, I felt like I was watching KOTOR.
Oh yeah, I can see it now.
I got KOTOR vibes from that episode.
I can see that now. I mean, from what little I've played of it, I can see that now. Yeah, I get that. That's good. I didn't think about that before until you said that. Now that you said that, I'm going to go watch it again and get those vibes going, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, I like how they portrayed the lightsabers, that they're colorless until you're, like, more connected with the Force. And depending on the person is what the color would be, I guess. I guess there's a lot of factors that factor into that. That's not really much of a spoiler either. The episode talks about it a little bit early on.
It feels like they took that from Demon Slayer, because the swords in Demon Slayer do that.
Oh, really? I've never played Demon Slayer, so I wouldn't know. But, yeah, so all in all, I think it was good, and I want them to do a season 2. Actually, in a way, I wish they would turn like at least 3 of those into their own anime.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's the Ocho, and what was the other name? Something.
I was amazed with Lo Panocho, because in the small time they had, they really made us care about the characters and the setting enough to like say, I want more of this.
Did you say more?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Yeah, La Pinocha. I really liked the relationship between those two, and the twist at the end made that a much more emotional episode. And like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything for that, but that one's a little more emotional.
It felt really like a Disney movie, but I'm not going to say which one, because then I would spoil the plot.
But it was good. Yeah, I want it to be its own thing. The way it ended as if it can be continued in its own anime. Like I said, a lot of these feel like a pilot for their own animes, and I really wish they'd actually continue each of these. I mean, that could get them a lot of money, I'm telling you. Especially if they keep up the quality that those episodes had. They don't have to be canon, but they can just be something for us to enjoy. I personally like it.
I don't know how likely that is, because I don't know the relationship between Lucasfilm and those studios, but yeah, I would totally be up for a continuation of several of these, like the Ninth Jedi, Lo Panocho, even the one with the duel. I mean, it's supposed to be a one shot, because that's the way these samurai flicks are. But if they wanted to follow the main character of that one into doing some more stuff, I would be down for it.
Oh yeah, and the thing is about that, even though the first episode or the pilot, let's call these like pilots for now. Let's say that, since it was mostly action, they were just trying to get us into what they can do. They were trying to show us what they can do. Now, if they turned it into an actual show, I feel like they would actually expand on the Star Wars element a lot more than the samurai element at some point. I mean, the Force is something that they mention a lot in these, and I'm sure that they will expand. Each show with their characters in each of their individual universes will expand on what the Force is in that universe. They will have to, pull in a little bit of Star Wars to make it recognizable. So I would say that if these were actual shows and they continued on like this, I feel like they would improve more, rather than disappoint. So, I mean, that's just my thoughts on it. You got something to say? Sorry.
No, I was saying I agree. I would like to see these become like at least a mini series or something. Because yeah, I felt for some of them like the Ninth Jedi and La Panocha, I really felt like so damn sad that the episode ended and there's no more. It's because those stories both end in a cliffhanger, and you're left wanting to know what follows.
Exactly. So if they do a season 2, maybe hopefully they'll do a continuation of some of these, even if it's just like a a 2-part thing. Like first season was the first part, second season is the final part. Even if it's that, I want to see a continuation of some of these. I mean, why leave it like that if you're not going to continue it?
Oh, and regarding TOB1, that episode, I don't know if they, I don't know how it works, but it probably was made on purpose. It's kind of an homage to Osamu Tezuka, the creator of Astro Boy.
Yeah.
It feels really a lot like Astro Boy, and the character even looks like him.
That's true. That's true.
Hey, Commander Tano.
Yes.
I was just thinking, how about we just leave these two at it for the next hour, and we'll just go and watch it, and come back in 2 hours, and they'll probably still be going, and then we can actually,
they probably
participate
will.
and not have to worry about it next week.
Oh man. During the 27 minutes we've been here, you could have watched like 2 of those. You could have watched the Ninth Jedi for sure.
Well, I mean, the thing is that you're sitting there. You at the beginning you went, well, just do the quick sort of, hey, what did everyone think in all that type of situation? And
27 minutes is quick.
27 minutes later.
Hey, don't roast me on my own stream, okay?
I'm sorry. I thought that's what I did.
All right.
That's what I'm here for, right?
You get the lightsaber now. All right. Remember, I'll finish the job later. Okay, fine. Since these two are very impatient and want to say words, we'll go on to the part 3 discussion. Yes, the part 3 discussion. The one that I thought was just going to work in one stream ended up being a nearly 9-hour discussion, because I know this stream's going to be about 3 hours long, maybe 3 hours and a half. They'll want me to go 4, and I say no.
4 for 4.
I say no. Sorry, I don't do 4. Even if I'm 2 minutes away from it, I will end it even before I do an outro. I refuse. I will do that on a special day.
Is that like a gypsy thing? Are you superstitious about the number 4 or something?
No, not at all. No. By the way, if we ever stream on a Friday and it ends up being the 13th, I won't stream that day. Sorry. Even though we don't stream on Friday.
When is the next Friday, the 13th?
I have no idea. Luckily, we stream on Thursdays. So,
but
did you guys ever wonder why I didn't do it Friday?
You've got to stream on Friday the 13th for all the power from that day.
Yeah, the power being directed at me to be unlucky. Yeah, no. I'd rather not. I'm a very unlucky person as it is. Yeah, that's what they'd like us to think. And then when when we let our guards down.
What the Catholic Church that is exactly what the Catholic Church wants you to think.
Yes, exactly. I'm glad you get it.
They're wrong, but
Okay. Now on to the actual discussion. Man, it's hot here. Okay, I'm a little hyper. I've slept really well. I'm still going to reference that. Nobody's going to understand why. So we've talked about a lot of things lately. These last two streams have been nothing but talking about the important elements that make Star Wars Star Wars. Since this is near the beginning of the stream, 30 minutes after, but we are actually into the discussion now, I'm going to pose this question one more time, and hopefully this time we'll actually answer it. If we finish the stream or finish this topic by the end of the stream, I want you guys. I want you guys to answer this question. What makes Star Wars Star Wars? So, by the way, don't answer that now. I'm sure you guys got it by now, but I'm just saying, just in case. Oh yeah, there is one thing I am forgetting. Also, I'm just so excited to finally get this third part over because I want to talk about other things too. Thanks to those idiots in that stupid YouTube comment section. Dang it, they caused me to make a near 9-hour discussion about this stuff. Okay, yes, I'm forgetting one thing. We have a sponsor today. Yes, finally, we got another sponsor again. Sir AOA was finally able to get the ad agency to do something about our sponsorships. So here we go. Sir AOA, it's your turn. Go ahead.
Today's sponsor for the Force Collective is Trask Egg Farm. This ocean planet has all the eggs you can desire. If it lays eggs, they have it. From spider eggs, squid eggs, caviar, and even terrestrial creatures like birds, lizards, mammals, and frog eggs. Kids love those frog eggs. They just eat them whole. So why don't you give their eggs a crack? Trask Egg Farms. If something lays them, you can fry them.
I was expecting a Baby Yoda joke in there somewhere, and you did it. Children love them. They eat them whole. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like it.
Like I said, short and sweet.
Yes, and entertaining. So, now that we got the sponsorship.
You know what was actually... Sorry. You know what was actually really annoying?
What?
Unidentified frog species. That's the bloody species. I was going, okay, I'm going to grab the name of the planet that the frog is from. Nope, doesn't exist. Not even the name of the species exists.
Huh.
Isn't that racist?
It has to be. The fact that they haven't written down every single race in Star Wars makes the people creating it racist.
It's both racist and sexist because she's a female.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Oh,
no.
But there is a male.
Yeah, but the episode is about her.
Yeah, it's mostly about her. The male shows up near the end.
Which is also
yeah,
sexist.
but there's... if it was a female and a female, yeah, you could probably say it's sexist, but, there's a male there, so it's not sexist.
It's not Texas? Yeah, I know. They're on Mon Calamari. It sounded like you said Texas.
You must be hearing things.
No, that's what it sounded like. I knew what you were saying, but, it sounded like it. I'm like, I gotta make a joke out of it. Okay, enough of the cringy jokes I make.
It must be Texas in Texas. Or Texas in Texas.
Okay. Gosh. All right.
Texas is going to ban us.
No, I think they've got a sense of humor, unlike half the country.
They got. That's true. Unlike all of us, we have a sense of humor. Yeah. All right, on to the discussion. So we have went through multiple things. We went through world building, good storytelling, strong casts, the fact that they didn't have a plan, or whichever ones had a good plan or a plan in general. Good direction by the directors themselves. Production quality, good production quality, that is. Good character developments. Not depending on outside material to, fill in the holes. Good characters. And the movie lets you feel rather than tells you how to feel. So we only have 2 more things to talk about when it comes to the elements or the important elements that make a good Star Wars movie, which would be entertainment value and nostalgia. And we sort of talked about it a little bit, but I also like to add fan service, like nostalgia versus fan service. Let's change it to nostalgia versus fan service. I think I did that last stream for the short discussion of it. But nostalgia versus fan service, I think, is the one that I'll probably have the most to say about. But entertainment value, let's go ahead and talk about that real quick. We gotta rank each trilogy by how entertaining they were, and that won't be hard. At least for me, because I already have my answer, but I want to hear what everybody else has to say. And so I will talk less and let Sir AOA or Commander Tano go first, because me and Chrono have sort of had the spotlight for the last 30 minutes. So which one of you want to go first? I'll let you guys figure it out. I'm done hosting. You guys figure it out. See you later.
Oh dear.
You're the new host, one of you. You guys got to fight for it. I'll throw 2 sticks on the ground and you can
Ladies first.
We're asking to be cancelled.
Oh, you sexist.
I knew it.
She don't need a man to tell her that she can go
I'm gonna
first.
round up a mob.
Why do you think I avoided telling her she
I'll
can
go
go
first because
I'm a guy.
I'll go first because I'm probably about to forget what I'm going to say for the entertainment value element.
Okay.
Are we going? Are we each like going original, and then prequel, or are we going to say what we think of all 3 all at once?
Well, I think let's talk about the originals first. We'll go around and for each one and give examples, I guess. So it's harder to talk about all of them at once. So yeah, just do the original trilogy first, since it was the first trilogy. Unless you had something to say about the
trilogy, yes.
Okay.
No, I can do it that way. Yeah. So yeah, original trilogy. Yes, of course, it has Han Solo and C-3PO. That's all you need to know. That's it. Yes.
Their interactions were always funny. That's it. That's literally it. Okay, I'm giving the original trilogy a point just for that.
That's literally it.
All right. Well, since that's it, Sir AOA, I guess it's your turn.
Yeah, what's the question again?
As far as entertainment value,
was it entertaining?
We're talking about the original trilogy first. So if you have an example as well, that would be awesome. Her example was Han and C-3PO, and that's good enough. So, so go ahead, Soraya, if you got something.
Was the original trilogy entertaining? Yeah, because we're kind of still talking about it decades after
True
that it came out. And I mean, the thing is that hang on, when did the movies come out?
1977, and then 1980, and then 1983, if I'm not mistaken.
So I wasn't even born then, and I'm a huge fan of the original trilogy. So yeah, entertaining. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
because if it wasn't entertaining, it wouldn't have created this massive fandom for so long.
True.
What's entertaining about it? A better question would be, what's not entertaining about it?
That's true. That's a good question.
If you had to get me to sort of like rank each movie, I would just sort of go all equal first. Because they were all they were all good for various reasons. I mean, the Battle of Hoth was awesome. The rest of the movie, but the Battle of Hoth was a really good opening.
It was.
It really sort of jumped you back into it type situation. And you honestly sort of can't say, which one was the weaker one, because I don't think any of them were the weaker one. Maybe after you were on such a high from the trench battle, going into the fifth movie, because they changed all the numbers and all that. You might have a bit of a struggle with the come down of the middle part of Empire Strikes Back. But if you sort of take it as a whole, it's the setup for the grand slam of the Return of the Jedi. And if Empire Strikes Back hadn't have done what it did, the entire trilogy might not have been as good.
That was an accident.
And we lost Shay for a second.
I accidentally removed myself from the stream.
You hit the wrong button.
My hand slipped.
You self-canceled.
Yeah, I knew I'd said some things that were worth canceling for, so I just took myself out. That's how nice I am. That's how nice I am. You guys don't have to cancel me. I can do it myself. Why would anybody ever want to do that? You got anything else to say on that?
No.
All right then. Chrono, what about you? What do you got to say when it comes to entertainment value for the original trilogy?
Yeah, the original trilogy was definitely entertaining for various reasons. I mean, Soraya just pointed out the Battle of Hoth. A lot of people don't mention it, but we all agree it's an awesome scene. And it's very clever that they did that instead of another space battle, because they had done space battles in the first one. And then you get to this movie in the ice planet and you figure like, nothing's going to happen in the ice planet. At least that's what most people must have thought back then. And then suddenly you have this massive battle with machines and the small craft trying to outmaneuver them. That was clever as hell. And that's what makes it entertaining, because you don't expect to see that.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's so much fun that they have recreated it in Rogue Squadron and all these different games, because people like that scene.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It was one of my favorite things to play in Rogue Squadron, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
I absolutely hated it though in the Lego Star Wars game. If you played that level, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Trying to get all the memes in that one, yeah.
Oh man, it's the worst thing, towing those bomb things around. They don't want to go with you. They want to go every other direction. I'm going to rant on that level if I don't stop now. So, so you got anything else on that, or?
No, I guess, well, you asked for an example, and I guess that pretty much covers it. But yeah, the whole trilogy has stuff like that makes you set it apart from other movies that did other things. I mean, there are a lot of exciting movies, but Star Wars has always had this ability to distinguish itself from everything else. And the original trilogy was the one that did it the best.
Now that I agree. Honestly, I think you said something that made me think for a second. You said it stands out above everything else, and And so does the prequel trilogy. You don't see anything like it. When I see the sequel trilogy, and this isn't to throw off on the sequel trilogy, but this is genuinely something that comes to my head.
Yes, it is.
I sort of think of Guardians of the Galaxy. The humor is there. The aliens look about like what you would see in Guardians of the Galaxy. Honestly, I feel like I'm getting a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe from it. It doesn't feel exactly like Star Wars like it should. I mean, it has some of those elements, but I think especially the Last Jedi, I think that one felt the most like a Guardians of the Galaxy type movie. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but that just came in my head when you said it stands out. Like there's some elements like the humor, and it also spans from the first movie and into the last movie. Some of the humor is literally just Marvel humor. They took too much from Marvel, in my opinion. They should have tried to go for the humor that they had in, let's say, the original trilogy. It wasn't all these your mom jokes and all that junk, you know? And
I have to agree because They Fly Now feels exactly out of Guardians of the Galaxy.
I can literally imagine Star-Lord looking back at some sort of alien that we might have seen or whatever, and you've never seen him fly before, and then he'll look back and be like, "They fly now," and then everybody else is like, "They fly now," and then there's I think his name is Drax going, "They fly now." just in his deep monotone voice.
The one thing
Yeah.
I would say, with the Guardians comparison, like say comparing to the Last Jedi, the difference is that when you get to some part, like say when Rose flies and derails Finn and that whole, saving what we love, all that stuff. In a
Well,
Marvel
everyone
movie,
dies in the background.
in a Marvel movie, everyone would die in the background. They would do something to make fun of that, like because it's ridiculous. It just that there would be something that would come in to break up that moment and bring you back to kind of back to earth, as it will. And that's almost the problem, I think, is that it's like if you're going to go for Marvel humor, you have to go all the way in. If you do it halfway, it doesn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they could have made a joke about Han Solo or something like that, and but they didn't. But then they end up doing some weird joke about you gotta say what you love. I call it a joke. It is a joke. I don't even think they meant it. But that whole scene where they just blow up in the background, that stuff don't mix. You can't have like that super serious moment and then go back and try to pull the Marvel humor again. I mean, they did it right with Endgame when Tony Stark died. Spoiler for those that haven't seen that. Sorry, I just now said spoiler. But if you ain't seen it by now, I don't know what you're doing with your lives. That's a good movie. There's major moments in the Marvel series where they don't joke around with things like that. But see, the thing is, they tried to mix that and sort of mix it with Star Wars humor in Star Wars, and it just didn't work. I don't know exactly how to explain why. It just didn't work.
It's because any comedy moment in Star Wars is actually very dry.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It's not obvious that it's a joke. It just might be a well said line, just perfectly timed to tickle your funny bone. So, where Guardians of the Galaxy and sort of like the Marvel humor, there's a setup and a punchline, and that's not something that's really happened in the Star Wars movie, even with Jar Jar Binks.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Jar Jar Binks, there's really never set up and a punchline. It's just something that flows from the storyline or flows from the character.
Now, I will say, I feel like there's an exception in the sequel trilogies for at least one character, and that is Han Solo. Almost anything that he says sounds like Han Solo. Like I said, I think in the previous or one of the previous two, they did Han Solo right as far as like his character, except for a couple things. But as far as getting his personality down, they got it right. And I
Yes.
think that anytime that he said something
The
like
only
that's
thing
not
they
how
got
the
down, the only thing
Huh?
they got right about Han Solo, his personality.
Yeah, and that moment when he says that's not how the force works, that legitimately made me laugh. I loved it. I think that was a funny joke. That's very Han Solo of him to do that. You know,
But
it's not our
but
character.
as I said earlier, though, that is a very dry joke. It's not.
Yes,
It's not a. Um. It's not a setup and punchline.
yeah,
It
but
just
I
comes naturally from the character.
that's true. That's true. Now, like when they tried to make Finn you know, the one talking
Basketball
past
joke.
me. Yeah, sort of. I mean, when he was talking to one part that bugs me is when he was talking to Phasma saying, "I'm in charge now, Phasma. I'm in charge." He's going all crazy with power there for a second, and I feel like that was a joke that they didn't need to put in because I know they were doing it for joke's sake, not because it's part of his character. They were doing it
No,
to
actually,
create a
I
joke.
probably just I possibly disagree with that.
Really?
Um, well, it comes from the fact that you have someone who was essentially not powerful, um, going up. It's that whole sort of stinging it to the boss before you leave type situation, and everyone applauds into clapping. Well, that's what everyone thinks when they try to do something like that, but um, yet again, I think that actually probably very much sort of flows from the character as well.
Well, what I really mean by that, and I agree with you, but I sort of meant like I don't think he would have went that hard at it. Like I feel like he would have said that he was in charge now and sort of been happy about it. But I don't think. And now then again, I might be exaggerating how crazy he went with it. I'm not really trying
Yeah,
to, but I just felt like he was going a little too hard at it. Then again, that's just me, and I'm just one
but I mean,
person.
what I'm sort of trying to get at is that you could almost say it's not so much from his character, but it is the type of thing that you would see from people that were in his position, but then were able to turn the tables on people that were above him, or
Yeah,
above them, I should say. So, no, that's
real
pretty
quick.
much it.
Where was I before I went off on a tangent about Finn and Han Solo? I was
We
talking
were
about
talking about
something.
jokes.
Oh, the jokes. Oh yeah, the your mom jokes, and then saying how it worked right with Han Solo, even though it was a dry joke. It worked with his personality because they got that right. Okay, yeah, that's where I was at. Okay, so the Marvel humor and all that stuff in the sequel trilogy movies, it felt too much like a Marvel thing that they were trying to copy. Now, I feel like they could have done better with it. I mean, Marvel humor is funny to a point. The problem is though, it doesn't fit in this universe. Maybe one good Marvel joke every once in a while if you want to satisfy that crowd that enjoys that kind of thing. But don't turn the whole opening sequence into one long your mom joke.
Yeah, see, the thing is that I don't think it would have worked, period,
I mean,
because it's not something that has been seen in any. Actually, I can't think of a joke like that in any Star Wars material. Well, except for maybe the holiday special, but I haven't seen the holiday special. So
We don't talk about that one, okay? That's the one we don't talk about. I refuse to watch it again.
hey, if we're going to talk about everything in the sequel trilogy, I think we can, give some leeway
Well-
to the holiday special. It's no longer the worst part of Star Wars.
I don't know.
True.
I mean, this might be heresy for some people, but I sort of almost consider the sequel trilogy a little bit better than the holiday special. And like I said, that might be heresy for some people, but I cannot stand how they turned it practically into a musical, and it was so weird. All about this perverted old Wookiee and Chewie's wife, and his son that looked like an oversized Ewok. And not to mention that, like, the acting was terrible.
Well, it was meant to be a TV special, so
Yeah, but Mark Hamill looked like a literal orange. And all the Wookiees were wearing cult robes at the end.
well,
they were missing was the hoods.
they probably couldn't afford all the full body suits, and they needed more than one Wookiee.
I mean, where are they going to get bodysuits in general? They live on a tree planet full of trees, and they make everything from the trees.
No, I'm talking about the TV show,
Oh,
the studio. They
oh,
probably couldn't afford all the Wookiee suits, so they just went, "Oh yeah, we've got 3 there. That's enough. We'll just put the others in cult robes, and have
they were all in cult
Wookiee
robes.
feet."
Well, yeah, that's true. They probably didn't have anything underneath. That probably
They
makes
were
sense.
all naked.
But honestly, Life Day, that is one thing the way that no. No. And every single scene with the Millennium Falcon looked terrible and was rerun multiple times to show that they were flying somewhere. Was I the only one that noticed that? What now?
But Boba Fett was in it.
That's true. If we didn't have that, we probably wouldn't have gotten the Boba Fett we know. Plus, I wouldn't have I used to have it a long time ago. They had the Star Wars figure for that specific Boba Fett, and I still have it, I think, somewhere hidden in my room somewhere. But that's one of my favorite designs of Boba Fett, to be honest. But anyway, now that we're not talking about that, entertainment value, it's very entertaining. I love the original trilogy. Even some of the special edition edits that they did in the future. Some people didn't like it. I don't like all of them, but I like most of them. Some of them enhance the story a little bit, like showing that scene with Jabba, even though he says, or Han Solo says, "You're a wonderful human being." But we sort of cleared up what that could have meant in the last one. I'm not going too far into that, but they enhanced it a little bit, and I like how they replaced the Emperor from Star Wars Episode 5 with Ian McDiarmid. The only thing I really wish they would do is release the original versions of the movies and the current versions, and so we can see how much they've changed between the original cut and the new special editions and stuff like that.
Considering
That would be pretty
how low sales are for them in most areas, I'm pretty sure at some point they will.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a thing about them not having all the rights for that stuff, and that's why they haven't released it yet. I don't know.
That makes sense.
I mean, I'd say they probably would have by now if they could, because they seem to not like anything newer that George Lucas did. The only reason why they released the prequels is because, it's part of the main story. But they didn't hardly do anything with the prequels after Disney took over. It was Empire this, Rebellion that, or anything after the Empire and the Rebellion. There was hardly any Clone Wars prequel era content. But yeah, no, I'm done ranting about that. Entertainment value, I give it like a 10 out of 10. They're very entertaining movies. If I was to give an example, the final duel with Luke would be my example. Luke and Vader's final duel in episode 6. I was talking about it the other day on the last stream, I think that we did, or it could have been the first one. I can't remember for sure. I think it actually was the first one that we did for this 3-part series. I really learned to appreciate that duel a lot more after learning, or how should I say this? When I realized, well, I knew what was at stake, but the thing is, I didn't think about it as deeply. And plus, I had just watched all the original trilogy movies prior to that, and I started thinking about the hero's journey and seeing what all Luke went through, and even going through what I've read so far in the new, or not the new, what am I saying? The Thrawn trilogy, Heir to the Empire and Dark Forces. I grow to appreciate everything that Luke has went through, and I start thinking about that hero's journey, and then it all comes down to the final confrontation between Luke and his father, and that starts to rise some emotion, and not to mention the music in that was like amazing. You can feel the intensity from that fight just from the music itself, but Luke was, he was going at it with Vader. He was letting his anger take over. He almost turned to the dark side, and then right before he finished off Vader, he looked at his hand and looked at Vader's hand, seeing how he I guess was becoming Vader, I guess you can say. I think that's how I said it last time. He looked at himself as if he was becoming Vader, and he didn't want that. He didn't want to end up like his father. He wanted to turn his father, not kill him. So there's a lot riding on that final duel, and the fact that Luke, the one that's such an optimistic person, nearly fell to the dark side, but was able to stop himself. That makes him such a strong Jedi in the end. I mean, there's just so much I can say about that final duel. I mean, we can even do a full stream just breaking down what that duel means for the entire series, but that's not the point of this here. No, we've already gotten an hour in here. We got a bunch more to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and just end it in my discussion there because, yeah, my example was that final confrontation between Luke and Vader. And that alone, like I was saying, makes me realize how much is at stake at that moment. And it's just very entertaining to watch as well. It's well done, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's what I got to say about it. So, with that out of the way, the original trilogy gets a point. I mean, it was inevitable. There's no way it wasn't going to get a point for that one. It is the original, after all.
Yeah, and Rian Johnson, the original trilogy is how you actually subvert expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Exactly.
And we all know what scene we're talking about.
Yes, we know exactly what you're talking about. And I just want to say that that's not how you do it. That is not how you do it. All right. So now that we've finished up with the original trilogy, let's go on to the prequel trilogy. There's a lot of mixed feelings about the prequel trilogy. A lot of people either hate it, a lot of people think it's okay, or a lot of people absolutely love it. It just depends on, I guess, when you grew up or how much of a Star Wars fan you consider yourself to be. If you're like a original trilogy purist, one that's like, no Star Wars after this was any good. I don't consider this canon or that canon. I mean, I used to feel like if you don't like all Star Wars, then you're not a Star Wars fan. And then when Disney took over and it didn't feel like Star Wars anymore, I guess in a way I felt like a hypocrite for not liking the new movies. So I did desperately try to like the new movies because, I didn't want to be a hypocrite to what I said, but I couldn't make myself like them. I liked the first one. The other two were very questionable. I really, really, really tried. Like I say this with like I
Pained
say this,
expression.
yeah, yeah, because I'm not joking. I really did try to like it. I watched them multiple times just to see if I can actually enjoy most of it. I tried to find all the good stuff in them. I just couldn't enjoy them for what they were.
My trick didn't work on yourself.
You were too toxic to enjoy them.
Yeah, I'm just deep down in my heart. There's just too much toxicity, and I can't get it out. So no matter how hard I try, I'm going to be toxic no matter what. But that's that's besides the point. Besides the fact that I'm a toxic person, I just couldn't enjoy it. But like I was saying, the prequel trilogy has a lot of mixed feelings, and I say if you don't like it, you don't like it. Oh well. But honestly, when it comes to the prequel trilogy, I still sort of stand in that position where if you don't like it, then how can you be a Star Wars fan? Because it sounds like I'm being a hypocrite when I say it. What I mean by that is it's the George Lucas era Star Wars movies. Yes, they may not be what you expected if you grew up with the original trilogy and like, oh, we're getting more Star Wars, and then you feel disappointed. But the thing is, though, this is the George Lucas era. I feel like if you don't like any of that, or if you can't accept it for what it is, and if you act like the original trilogy is the only trilogy, then you really aren't a Star Wars fan, because the prequel trilogy has created, even if you don't agree with me that the movies are good, even if you think they are terrible, you can't disagree that they have brought so much to the franchise itself, and be it outside content, or if you did enjoy the movies themselves, then they brought that much more for that franchise for you. What has the sequel trilogy done? It's not brought anything that has made it memorable. They want to finish all the stories they set up in the movies and outside content, like we talked about before, and that's the only reason why they're getting outside content is because they left holes open in the movies. Why do you think they made comics about the Knights of Ren or whatever? Or
They
about
made comics about the Knights of Ren.
I think they like had a origin story for Kylo or something like that, like how he became a Knight of Ren in a comic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or like these books that are supposed to lead up to Star Wars Episode 7, which is I thought that was a cool thing at first, but then like if you think about it now, why do you need outside content to lead up to a movie that is coming out? Why can't the movie stand alone? Why do you have to have this stuff? Yeah, exactly.
Money.
I liked the approach they were going for, the super secret, like I want to, surprise everybody approach, not telling you much about the story, being very vague about any details. I liked it. But when the movies didn't deliver on what we were expecting, that's what ruined it. Like they had a good approach. Besides the outside content, like the certain books, I can't remember. I think it was Aftermath. I think it came out like I think it's the Aftermath series. It came out before the movie, and it's supposed to, or was that after the movie? I can't remember. There was a few books. I know I got a couple of them in my bookshelf back here that came out before the movie, the first movie showed up. But there's a few books that were released that were supposed to, I guess, give you some insight to what happened before these movies, or maybe on certain characters or whatever. Anyways, they were relying on outside content to get you invested in their new canon before the movies came out. I guess to help you understand the movies better about the time they're in and all this stuff. I feel like they shouldn't have done that. I mean,
No.
I used to think it was cool at first, but now I don't because I realize they're relying on outside content to fill in holes.
There was nothing behind it.
Yeah, exactly. So the prequel trilogy, though, you didn't have any content like that led up to the prequel trilogy, as far as I remember. Now, given I wasn't born,
but I mean, on top of that, it wasn't needed.
No, it wasn't needed.
Pretty much, all of the ancillary material that came out about the prequel era was just to enhance
Mm-hmm.
stuff that was already in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's the thing, though. Like that's the difference between the sequel and the prequel trilogy, which is why I give the prequel trilogy a point for entertainment value, because even if you didn't enjoy the movies, they gave you a lot of different elements in these movies that were, first of all, entertaining. The action sequences were wonderful. Some people are very nitpicky and would be like, "Oh, well, they're too fancy, or they look like they're dancing, or whatever." I've seen all these dumb arguments before. Well, we've already talked about why those scenes work, so I'm not going to explain it again. But
yes, they were dancing.
yeah. But in a more like elegant way, I guess, with a lightsaber.
Hey!
So,
It was a very, very, very pretty dance.
yes,
But
one I enjoy.
anyone that's trained in sword fighting could defeat them in about 5 seconds.
Maybe.
No,
If they weren't using
not
the
maybe.
Force. If they weren't using the Force, maybe.
No, even using the Force.
Well, the thing about that is, we can go into the into all the lightsaber fighting and why either it works or doesn't work, but that would be a long discussion. And
No, it would be a very, very, very short discussion.
I'm talking about
it was a very, very elegant dance, and it looked really pretty, and it was really cool, but it was incredibly impractical.
It may be impractical, but it was pretty. That's all that matters, okay?
Oh yeah, no, like I said, it was very pretty. I really like it, but I'm sitting there going, "Oh my god, they are so open. It's not funny."
Well, the thing about that is the Jedi.
Actually, hang on a second, and I should probably admit,
Okay.
still not the worst case of it.
True.
The sequel trilogy did it far worse.
Yes, entirely. There was so many moments in that final, or not final fight, the fight between Kylo and Rey and the Gamorrean guards, that just the choreography was junk in that scene. I thought at first it was good, but
that was. I remember, like, if we're still talking about entertainment value, and yeah, I guess I'm jumping to the sequels, but it was one of those instances where, like, I remember my cousin and I were watching it, and so, like, there were, like, two main points where we just, like, kind of burst out uncontrollably just laughing, and the one was when Luke, all of the whole Luke breastfeeding off the weird alien scene. But the other was that whole fight.
Getting some up to green.
Yes. The other was kind of the combination of just how Snoke was killed. We just thought it was so funny. And also the fight. And it's like, and it was a weird thing how with that movie, it was actually, you think about it, it's like, it's a very entertaining movie, just not in the way that I think that the people who wrote and direct, and just, were thinking it up, the story, not in the way that people meant. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how entertaining it is when we do that drunk stream. I've finally got the tech. I've just got to set it up.
Ooh, I'm ready to do a. Never mind. I was about to say I'm ready to do a watch party, but now I think about what we're watching, and I'm like, okay.
Hey. Hence why it's meant. Well, I know you don't drink, but that's why I'm planning on having a good amount of vodka and a good amount of orange juice and
I'll take
a good amount of drinking.
I'll drink.
Yeah, no, but you mean you've got to mix the
like
orange
orange
juice
juice.
with the vodka. With a
Yeah,
little
but
bit of
I
grenadine
just
as
like
well.
orange juice by itself. I'll drink orange juice by itself. I like orange juice. It's good. I'll just get oranges too. I'll just eat some oranges along with it, you know. Orange juice and natural orange juice, it's all good.
Actually, that,
See,
to all the listeners out there, put in the comments the drinking rules. We need to come up with some drinking rules. Yes, we will be. Well, I will be planning on wanting to stop any time that a rant needs to happen.
I feel like we'll never watch the movie then, so we might have to limit how many rants we make.
Hey. Well, then we'll just make it into 2 to 3 parts.
No.
Maybe
We already
4.
tried that with this.
each person gets like a rant allowance.
A rant allowance. Yeah, and you know what? I think that I'll give each of you like 3 rants for the whole movie. And it can't be the same rant as somebody else's.
I'll be done in 10 minutes. Well, actually, I really shouldn't say I'll be done in 10 minutes because I haven't seen the movie. That's the entire point.
Lord.
But I do have from everything that I've seen about the first 10 minutes, I think I might be stuffed in 10 minutes. Maybe we'll just have a separate timer. So you've paused the movie. You've got 2 minutes to rant. Go.
Well, now since we talked about that, let's get back onto entertainment value here. What was I at? Or who was talking about it? I almost forgot what we were doing.
Lady
Wow.
Tano was talking, right?
Yes, you were. Yes, you were, Lady Tano.
Yeah. We kind of went from talking about I think we were going to talk about the prequels, but then we just kind of got into the sequels because we can't help it.
That's true.
Yeah, so
Sequel bashing it
I'll say
brings
my
the family together.
Yeah, I may say like my prequel and sequels, so my quick prequel bit is absolutely entertaining. It has there are plenty of examples. It's not only that you have plenty of examples of that kind of dry humor that Soraya is talking about that you see in the originals. You get it from Qui-Gon, you get it from Obi-Wan, but also there's so much from things like just like the whole pod racing scene to one thing I really liked a lot was the scene. It's the chase scene. It's in Attack of the Clones. It's after they discover the bugs that have been put into Padme's room. They kill them, and then it's that whole chase scene through Coruscant that goes after that. It's stuff like that. That was just a lot. It's just fun. And also for it being, what year was that movie? It's like really, really, really early 2000s.
2002.
Yeah, and it's like the CGI for that is pretty good. All things considered, it's aged well. But yeah, so there's plenty of there's the entertainment from the prequels, like the I hate sand stuff, where it's just like it's just so bad. But we all love it, and we all love it, and like to it's almost endearingly bad, and it's fun to laugh at. So there's that category of stuff that's entertaining, but there's also stuff that's it's plenty of other stuff. The dry humor, I think, a lot of the chase scenes, the fights and that choreography. There's a lot of that stuff too that adds to that value.
I agree. I agree. The when you mentioned the chase scene, I started laughing because I just started thinking of Obi-Wan telling Anakin, "Anakin, how many times have I told you?" And they just start getting zapped by those power coupling things, and that just made me laugh. If you heard me chuckle, that's why. I love that
Yes.
part. I thought it
Yes.
was funny. But why in the world are there like weird power couplings in the middle of nowhere, and why couldn't they have avoided it?
Because they're there, they were put there to zap Obi-Wan and Anakin just for that scene. That's all.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay. Yeah, why not? That's a good explanation. And did you have anything else to say? I think you said you were going to put your prequel and sequel answers together, or do you just want to wait?
I sorry, got animals in the house. I may save the
fine.
sequel stuff actually and hand it over to whoever's next.
Okay. All right then. Saray away.
Yes.
Well, I figured you knew what I was wanting you to do, but I guess I'll tell you. Prequel trilogy, entertainment value. Give examples. Tell us if it's entertaining. All right, go.
Every single space battle in the damn trilogy.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Pretty much. If you just remove everything about the Anakin and Padme relationship, the rest is all entertaining. And I'm even talking about in the first movie before you can say Anakin and Padme had a relationship.
Yeah.
And I is it Marsha Lucas?
Yeah, Marsha Lucas, I think.
Yeah, I think she, in her little entertainment argument about the movies, yeah, a 10-year-old child, I guess the whole relationship in the first movie was just really weird. But like I said, you remove the Anakin and Padme relationship, the rest of it is I found highly entertaining and interesting.
Oh yeah.
And you pretty much just had these massive speed bumps, which was the Anakin and Padme relationship. Though I do say speed bumps, I probably more should say, brick walls.
I don't know. We can look back at those things now and laugh at them. So I feel like it'd be less of a brick wall, more like a half wall.
What I'm sort of saying is that the flow of the movie just stops like hitting a brick wall. You got this highly entertaining war between the Separatists and the Republic, and all the intrigue, and then Anakin and Padme are now talking about sand.
I hate sand.
And thanks to that movie, everyone else does as well.
Well, I have an actual reason. It ain't just because of the movie. Well, I've already talked about that before.
Yeah, but when it gets to all the other parts of the movies, it's thoroughly enjoyable. Which reminds me, I should try and see if I can make a cut of it that removes all the romantic scenes.
That can't be done. I think there's actually something like that on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Well, it doesn't remove all the romantic scenes. I think it cuts down a lot on some of the stuff that wasn't necessary. And that's probably most of the relationship scenes in the Attack of the Clones, but I think it just shortens the entire trilogy down just a little bit to, I guess, get to all the necessary parts or whatever. I ain't watched it in a while, but it's pretty interesting.
AKA all the good parts.
Well, yeah, and there's plenty of that too.
But if you take it as a whole and if you sort of say, is it entertaining? Answer, yeah. You can sit down and watch it and not want to spray bleach in your eyes.
Well, when I see a prequel movie on, like, at all, like if I see it sitting around and I just want to watch it. If I see it on Disney Plus and I just want to watch it, I just look at it and I'm thinking,
this is where the fun begins.
Because,
yeah,
because I really love those movies. I really do. Especially this one.
I still love the knowledge. I still love the fact of the knowledge of Hayden Christensen lighting the lightsaber and then going boo, just to make the jump. And I love it. It makes that scene so much better. And it really sort of knowing that Hayden Christensen did that and then made sure that he was in the Vader suit for that final season. Season, not
season.
Makes me appreciate his performance that much more.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of makes me wish that, maybe if the scripts had been written better, he might not have got as much hate as he did.
Oh, yeah. The thing is, I don't think the plot at all was the problem with the prequel trilogy. I don't think there was any problem with the plot. It was more just some of the acting and the dialogue. It just depended on, whatever scenes that were on. Hayden Christensen's a good actor, but some of his stuff came off like monotoned and non-emotional. One scene that comes to my mind is when... No. That one, you can tell he's passionate about hating sand. No, I'm just kidding. Sand gives you like this depression, and you don't feel like giving out any feeling at all. You just like, I hate sand. It's coarse, rough, and irritating. It gets everywhere. You just don't want to. You don't feel anything when you talk about sand. You don't feel anything. So of course he got it right. No,
well, he never went to he never went to Squeaky Beach. He never went to Squeaky Beach. So
true. The one scene I'm thinking of though. What?
To be fair, the line worked. I mean, she was so pitiful of him that she was like, oh, "Okay, I'm gonna give this kid a chance. He's so hopeless."
She might feel the same about sand. She might be like, "Oh, we got something in common." I mean, she didn't like being on Tatooine when she was there. Remember, she just didn't approve of anything. She was grumpy. She just didn't want to be there. So she was, she was glad when they left. She's like, his planet was a little too warm for her taste. It wasn't even just because of the heat. It was because of the sand secretly. But we don't talk about that. Nobody talks about that.
No. It's because they weren't. It was because she didn't have any Tatooine skincare cream.
A lot of people were lacking that in a lot of the movies. A lot of people were liking that. Just look at the old lady in The Rise of Skywalker. She looked like she needed some skincare cream, especially the Tatooine skincare cream, because it's very hot and sandy, and sand irritates you.
She probably didn't go to her local Jawa sandcrawler. It's her fault. We're not,
It's all her fault. She should have done it. They're probably in such high demand though they don't have as much as they need to. It's probably hard to manufacture that stuff, especially to take care of your skin on a place like Tatooine. Then again, I don't know the science of it. I love how
Yeah,
we're
I don't know
just.
the economics of the Tatooine skincare supply chain.
That too.
Just going into that.
Yeah. I don't understand economics either. Sir AOA might know a thing or two. He might. But before I give him a chance to say anything about it, back to sand. I hate it. It's coarse. It's rough. It's irritating. It gets everywhere. Okay, but the scene that I was thinking of was when let's see. Now I lost it. Dang it! You got me talking about sand, and sand does things to your brain. Oh yeah.
It's rough.
No,
it's irritating.
It gets everywhere, even in your brain, apparently. No, I remember it now. So when the Chancellor in Star Wars, this is Star Wars Episode 3, when the Chancellor says, "I'm appointing you to be my personal representative on the Jedi Council," and then Anakin's like, "You mean me, a master? I'm overwhelmed, sir." Like he sounded so overwhelmed that he couldn't get any feeling out. Maybe that was the point, but he that's one part that bugs me. He does not sound excited at all. He's like, "I'm overwhelmed, sir." So that when it comes to acting, that's one of the scenes that I personally think was not the strongest. Though it is a short scene, and that I mean, that's just one thing that comes to my mind. But I don't even know how we got to this point. You were talking about the entertainment value and stuff like that, and giving examples, and now we're talking about the acting. So I don't know how that happened. I'll go back to you.
It was one of the weakest points.
Oh yeah,
not
that's
so much
right.
Acting. It was very much sort of the dialogue.
Yeah.
And the thing is that it's one of those sort of situations of that's probably very much a sort of more director problem than the actors.
Yeah. True.
And it was just something that sort of suffered throughout the entire trilogy. But the thing is that it was still elevated over those facts, not bogged down by them.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, to put it really simply, were they bad movies? No. They were just bad Star Wars movies. They were just average movies. And, I've said it sort of once before, when you sort of put them in comparison to the original trilogy shines that much more brightly over the prequels. But the thing is that the prequels still felt like a Star Wars movie, unlike some other movies that we can talk about.
Oh, we're getting to that one in just a little bit. That one might actually make this a 3-hour stream. I don't even know if we might need a part 4 for this now that now that I say that, because I still got a couple things that we got to talk about. But go ahead. Oh man, I'm thinking anybody that's watching these is probably thinking, just get on with it already. Just finish up this discussion. I want you to talk about something else.
Get on with it.
Well, do you have anything else to say about entertainment value and examples for
not for the prequels.
Okay. Chrono,
I'm lock and loaded for the sequels, though.
Oh, yeah. No, I think we all are waiting for the sequels. Trust me.
Get your motor running.
But it probably won't be anything that we haven't already said, but we're just going to reiterate it to make the point that we're trying to make. Anyways, go ahead, Chrono.
We've got to beat on the dead horse a bit more.
Entertainment value for the prequel trilogy?
Yep, and maybe possibly an example to help out your argument.
They are definitely entertaining.
Yeah,
Yeah, not that much, but yeah, they try.
yeah, they tried. I don't think anything can really beat this.
No, not possible.
Yes, yes.
I had to appease them at least once or twice.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Oh yeah, the prequel trilogy was entertaining. I mean, it had cool space battles. Uh, it had great lightsaber duels, which the original didn't have because of limitations and the way things were done. Not because they really couldn't perform it. So it's just a matter of the way it was done and the time it was done.
Yeah.
But yeah, lightsaber duels really shine in this trilogy. I mean, you can think whatever of the acting or whatever grips people may have with them, but just in the first movie, the moment we see Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan blast their way out of that ship, that's just we had never seen that before that point. We never saw Master and Padawan working together. Just like it happened with the Hoth example, they were clever enough to show us something that wasn't done before.
Yeah.
That's true. And I really appreciate all that they did because they gave us a lot more to see, a lot more to build off of for later.
That's also probably something that should be really sort of what's the word I'm looking for? The spotlight should definitely be very much shown upon that. Is that the prequel trilogy definitely did give us a lot of things that we have never seen before. And I mean all of it. There was nothing that was sort of in the prequel trilogies that you was sort of like going, oh, yeah, I've seen that before. Which is definitely something that we cannot say about that other trilogy.
True.
Was that every set piece in the prequel trilogy was a new and unique experience.
Oh yeah, I mean even on Tatooine, we got to see a little more of Tatooine, and even though it was a familiar place, we got to see more of it. And I mean, you didn't think, oh, I've seen all that before. We got to see pod races. We got to see a lot more of how Tatooine or Mos Eisley works, not just the cantina or the spaceport like we've seen in Star Wars Episode 4 or the Moisture Farm. So yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah, well, it was really interesting to see all that, and I don't think, I mean, yeah, you can find fault within the three movies. You definitely can, but the point is entertainment value, and the question should be, did you feel entertained while watching those movies? The answer is yes. Of course we did. Because of many reasons. I mean, there's these action scenes, there's the space battles, even the discussions that they had about politics and stuff. They may not have been fast paced, but it makes it interesting to know how their world works.
World building.
World building, yeah, that's world building. World building is probably the best selling point the prequel trilogy has.
I totally agree with that.
And not the only thing it has.
I know it's not the only thing it has.
Nope. But you got anything else to say before we move on? Because I was going to say something, but I want to make sure you're done first.
Oh no, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, so as far as I mean I've said a few things already, but it's my turn, so I'm going to go ahead and give my example, my opinion on entertainment value. It is a very entertaining trilogy. I grew up with it, of course, so I'm going to probably lean towards liking it. And some people are like that, but I do recognize its faults. But there's people that only recognize the faults. They don't recognize the good things that it's brought. And that's the problem. I try to recognize all the good and bad in each of them. There are some things in the original trilogy that bug me a little bit, but it's not like anything that's going to break it for me. There's some things in the sequel trilogy that I like that I wish they did more of, but they didn't, which is what makes me not like it because, and I'll talk about that later. But entertainment value wise, the prequel trilogy, in my opinion, with the exception of some of the romance scenes from episode 2, especially the one where they're in the field and then Anakin starts standing up on top of one of those huge weird animals and then falls off of it and then acts like he's dead, and then Padme just gets on him and like, oh no, Anakin, and then he's like, ha ha ha, I'm not dead, and then they start rolling all over the field, and then they go to yeah. I laugh at that scene when I watch it, not because it's funny, but because why did they add it?
It was ridiculous.
I mean, we could have really done without that. But at the same time, even though it may not have been the greatest portrayal, it was essential for Anakin to find somebody to have kids with at some point so Luke and Leia can exist. So he set it up, maybe not in the greatest way, but he did set it up. And you can see how, like, they were very hesitant at first Padme was very hesitant at first to,
let's get it on.
Yeah, she was very hesitant for that. Anakin wasn't. He was like, you know what? I'll do it.
A teenager.
Of course, he was 19 at the time. Of course, he's going to be ready for it. Now, Padme is like a couple years older than him, and she's like, "Yeah, nah, I want to, I want to build up my career a little bit, then maybe focus on a family, and then they and she's trying to talk sense into Anakin, and he's like, "You're telling me to be rational." That's something I know I cannot do. And I'm thinking, yes, we all know
I need help with my hormones. Help!
Look, that
relieve me of my hormones.
That quote about his rationality, like, you're telling me to be rational, that's something I know I cannot do. That was funny. Even if it wasn't intentionally made to be funny, it was funny. And I watched that scene just for that because I love how brutally honest he is being at that point. Like, you're telling me to be rational. That's something I know I cannot do.
To be fair, he was consistent with that. He was not rational through the whole thing.
That's true. That's true. But what teenager is rational? I think they got the teenage part down. I think they did it. I think they got it down.
Yeah.
That might be a hot take for some. I think that he played the teenager really good. Speaking from experience and from knowing others with that type of experience, I think it's pretty accurate. So 10 out of 10 would watch again. But back to what I was saying about entertainment value. Yep. I really love the movies. They bring so much to the franchise. Like, we wouldn't have half of what we got if it weren't for the prequels. I mean, just look at the Clone Wars. Just look at Rebels. Just look at the Bad Batch. Just look at the Mandalorian. All of that stems from the prequel era in one way or the other. Like, first the prequels, then it goes to the Clone Wars, and that's if it wasn't for the prequels, the Clone Wars wouldn't exist. Therefore, a lot of the characters we know and love that appeared in the Mandalorian and Rebels wouldn't exist. A lot of storylines wouldn't exist. There's just so much that the prequel era has brought to us that it's practically almost one of the most essential parts of the entire franchise besides the original trilogy. I mean, of course, all six of the originals are the most important parts of the franchise because that's what makes the franchises those movies. But as far as lore goes, I think we've gotten almost more lore. Well, if we want to talk about with the visual media, more lore for the because of the prequel trilogy than we did the original. Now, if you want to go with like the books and stuff like that, I feel like it's a balance. And like I said, I haven't read much of the original EU. I'm trying to fix that. But there was a lot of not sequel, but original trilogy and prequel trilogy stuff. I have a lot of it in my shelf. I just haven't read it all. And then there was some that would take the place of the sequel trilogy era. And though there wasn't as much of it, there was quite a bit, but there isn't probably as much as there is original trilogy and prequel trilogy. So, and plus we have movies for those and TV shows. But what I'm trying to say is the prequels have created a lot of what we know and love now. I mean, that's not to say that the original trilogy didn't do that because of course, without that, we wouldn't have the prequels. And if you want to say that the original trilogy is what stems everything or everything stems from that, then you can. But I'm just saying that if it wasn't for the things that happened in the prequels, we wouldn't have what we have. So I think first of all, they're essential and they're entertaining. And as far as an example of some of the most entertaining parts, I think my favorite thing is probably the final battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin. That there's so much emotion riding on it. The acting in that part, in my opinion, is actually good. The dialogue is good. I think they went all out, especially Obi-Wan's final scene, the immolation scene. That scene really hits you hard if you're like one of those that get emotional with movies. It hits you hard because you're seeing, I mean, especially if you've watched the Clone Wars. I mean, even in the original movies when the Clone Wars wasn't around, you can still feel the emotion because Ewan McGregor, bless you, Ewan McGregor plays off that scene so well. You can see the hurt in his eyes when he's talking to Anakin while Anakin's on the ground in pain, and you can see the pain in Anakin's eyes. Like they do a good job acting in that scene. Like you don't even have to be told that, oh, I'm in pain. Probably not like what the sequel trilogy would do. No, you don't have to be told that I'm in pain to see that they're in pain. You see it just from their expressions, just from just from what they're saying.
From their physical performance.
Yes, exactly. You see it in their eyes. And that right there is good acting. You know, if you can convey what you're trying to convey without saying a single word, that's good acting, in my opinion. Now, I'm no expert actor, so there's probably
that's you said it pretty perfectly.
Oh, okay. Well, but yeah, that I think I want to say the best part of that was the immolation scene because that's where everything has, come to. The once great General Skywalker turned into a near limbless meatbag on the ground, and still holding on to that hate that he has. Which, after Anakin gets his limbs chopped off, I mean, if anybody got their limbs chopped off, you'd probably be angry at whoever did it. But the thing is, Anakin brought it on himself, but he let that cloud his judgment. And so he doesn't feel like he's in the wrong. He was just trying to save his wife. And that's the thing. There's so much going on with that. It's just a very entertaining, not entertaining as in like, oh, that's funny, but more like
it's so enjoyable to watch someone burn alive.
Well, if it makes you feel, it's good. Or if it's,
well, yeah, I bet he felt it.
that came out way worse than I meant it to.
Yes,
Look,
yes.
if the scene makes you feel for the characters,
so enjoying
or-
the fact that he's in pain and yes, darling, yes.
well, that makes you sound like a masochist or something. Or no, that's if you like enjoy somebody inflicting pain on you. Never mind.
Sadist.
Yeah, that.
The
Sadist.
guy who enjoys killing younglings.
Yeah.
See,
Um,
see, that's how acting works. To express an emotion through your performance.
Well, if the what I was trying to say is if the scene can make you feel either emotional about what's going on, then it's a good scene, and it has to be conveying the right emotions. Of course, it can't just be like it makes you feel like you can't literally stand watching the scene more. That's not the kind of feeling I'm talking about. I'm talking about if
Looking at you, Sequel Trilogy.
if the scene
Or
is trying
Twilight.
to make you feel away and it does its job, then that's a good scene because it's doing what it's meant to do. It's meant to make you either feel bad or good for the characters, depending on what's going on. And you think, especially since it's like the end of an era, you're seeing how everything ended and then started a new beginning with what we originally had, which was the original trilogy. So you get to see how all that stuff came to a head and then turned into what it is now, or what it was then, actually, because it came
And it
out.
was no easy task because you know how it happened. You know what happens. You know they clash eventually.
Yeah.
But when you see it happen, the way they did it, from the moment you start to see that fight to the moment he burns and Obi-Wan walks away, you end up being so satisfied with that. I mean, it's like, yeah, not the burning part, of course.
I was waiting for somebody to make a joke about it. I was.
I'm pretty sure. It was
Okay, everyone, we need to pull our feet out of our mouths.
Yeah, I think we've all got. Well, Commander Tano hasn't said anything yet, so she might not have her foot in her mouth. But I know I've got it, and so does Chrono.
I don't.
Hey,
you're the one that's trying to chew on your feet.
look,
Chrono just felt sorry for you, so he's grabbed his foot and
now
tried
it's
to
about me,
start
huh?
chewing on it.
All this is about me now, huh? Okay.
Hey, like I said, you're the one that's trying to eat your shoe leather.
Well, you know what? The joke's on you. I'm not wearing shoes.
Look,
What
you
you got?
said
Yeah, I
burning
don't know if
feels
that's
good,
better
so
or
we are just
worse.
roasting you. So
Roasting you like a pog.
Look, I said this once. I'll say it again. You're not roasting me on my own stream. How dare you? I'm going to remove you. Goodbye. I hope you feel bad for yourself now. I'm putting you back in place. There. No, actually, you deserve to be on the bottom now. You know what? There. You deserve it.
I will claw my way up to the top. Just you wait.
Oh, man. Okay. Now, back to what you were saying, Chrono.
Oh yeah, I mean the scene is very satisfactory because it's very well done. You can totally feel. I mean, you see the lightsaber fight and all, and that's cool. The choreography, whatever, but you can also feel as they progress through the fight. You can see that Obi-Wan is both determined to end whatever he's trying to start, and also he's conflicted all the time because he's like, I have to strike down my brother, and he's like, how do I do that? And you see it on his face. You see it in the way he fights. He knows he has to strike him down, but he doesn't want to do it.
That raises a debate. Could Obi-Wan have beaten Anakin sooner? Could the fight have actually been a shorter fight if Obi-Wan really wanted or was determined to destroy him?
I think he actually, I think it's not about being determined to destroy him. I think he knew he had to be serious considering how powerful he was, but he fought with experience. I mean, we all laugh at the joke with the high ground, but The truth is, he knew what he was doing, and Anakin was relying on raw power.
That's true. That's true. You can't rely on power alone. You have see. I think Luke said it like this in The Mandalorian: "Talent without training is useless," or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
So if you have talent but you're not trained to use that talent, you may have the talent and you might do good with it for a time, but somebody with more experience will, in the end, win. So that's actually I didn't think about that until you mentioned it, and that's a really good comparison right there. A really good way to tie those together because that's a perfect example of what Luke said.
Actually, that's a good question. It just popped into my head. Was that a dig at the sequel trilogy?
Oh, I didn't think about that. That's true. Because apparently Ray is fully trained and talented.
Was that a secret dig at the sequel trilogy?
It totally was.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It had to be. It had to be. I mean, why would they go out and say something like that?
Well, they did it before with the lightsaber thing in the last movie when they are trying to say that that's not the way you treat a weapon.
Yeah, that's weapon. Yeah.
I mean, they walked it back a little with that. I'm pretty sure it's possible that line was referring to the other movie.
Yeah, but I mean, was that a deliberate dig from Favreau and Filoni at the sequel trilogy? Because, well, I mean, the thing is that they kept that scene secret from Kathleen Kennedy. I'm just wondering if
it might have been, honestly, and if it was a secret, then of course it probably was. I mean, it's hard to keep a secret like that from her, I'd say. And the fact that Mark Hamill was directly involved, like, how could she not know? But at the same time, like, if they were able to keep it a secret, they must have had to go through some major obstacles just to keep it a secret. And why keep it a secret? Why would you?
They really are the resistance.
Because I would have come to burn it.
Well, luckily for us, she didn't.
Your KK impression is always on point.
It is always on point. It leaves me speechless every time, and I don't know what to say afterward. I gotta think of how to match that. You know, I can't ever match that. But you know, anyways, I think I've already given my example and my thoughts on the prequel trilogy, and we're at the 2-hour mark, so we're going to go ahead and switch on over to the sequel trilogy.
Well, hang on a second.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's beat that dead horse.
Just to lead into the talk about the sequel trilogy. Let's get ready to rumble!
Yeah. It looks like we're going to have a free for all here or something like that. So I'm going to. I'm just going to step away while you guys hash it out, and then I'll pick up the pieces afterward. Okay. See you later.
Oh, we don't have to hash it out.
Well, you gave us the go ahead. You know, you said let's get ready to rumble, so we're ready.
Yeah, but I mean, we're rumbling on beating the dead horse and see how much we can turn it into a nice flying pace.
So we're trying to make horse paste then.
Yes.
Okay.
That's essentially what I'm saying.
All right. So since you roasted me earlier, you're going to go last. No, I'm going in the same order.
You're saving the best for last.
That's how you'd like to think it, now wouldn't you?
Yep.
Well, actually, I am going in the same order. I was just kidding. But before we do that, it's sequel trilogy. This is going to be a long discussion. It's probably going to take the whole last third hour, so there may be a part 4 talking just about nostalgia and fan service. Oh, Lord. I didn't think we'd get this far. I thought we'd be done by now. All right.
Four.
Yeah,
Short.
we are so not getting this all done in an hour.
Let's see if we can make this short. Hopefully, we can make this short.
I think we might just get a part 5.
Oh, you think a part 5?
Ooh.
Okay.
I think there's a chance. There's a chance we could get a part 5.
Well, considering the fact that I wanted to talk about what the trilogies did wrong, what they did right, and George Lucas versus Disney, as far as like,
Jesus.
yeah, those were 3 other things. Those were literally 3 other things I wanted to talk about, and I've been trying to get to that for the last 3 streams.
Those are a stream
I think
each.
part 5. Yeah.
Well, we did it once back in the 5th episode. Well, Chrono and Sorry Away weren't part of it at the time, and maybe that's why it was so short.
Probably.
Now that I think about it, maybe that's why that episode worked, because we got through everything except for the important elements in Star Wars. We didn't do that last time, but we did.
You didn't have any train drivers driving any rant trains.
True. You always bring the rants. So
I'm also giving that to Chrono as well.
Oh yeah. So I'm going to make this discussion short. We're going to make this one short because we can go into everything in the next 2 sections here. So what did they do right? What did they do wrong? You know, we can go into that. So I just want you guys to actually give an example of what is entertaining about them, and are the movies or is the trilogy itself entertaining? You can reason however you want with it to prove your point, but I want to keep this one short so I can get into one of the other discussions pretty soon. So, Commander Tano, I'll go ahead and start with you. Go ahead and give me what you got.
Oh my. They fly now.
I love that's how you started it all.
You know what? I was
Perfect opening.
I almost just want to give them a point for entertainment value, because they are actually very entertaining when you kind of
When you mock.
yeah, it depends on how you define entertaining. Like if you're going for entertaining in the like in a mystery science theater sense, like just accept, and just have fun laughing at it exclusively, then yes, very entertaining. But if you were meaning more in the sincere sense, if you could amputate Force Awakens from the other 2, like, that one had entertainment value. Like, but
I agree.
And the thing is too, even the Last Jedi, like and obviously there's the perennial debate over which one was more of the problem, The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker. Let's put it this way: by the time I got to The Rise of Skywalker, I kind of missed The Last Jedi. Like I almost was like, I felt so, especially at the end, I was just really depressed by The Rise of Skywalker. I felt kind of numb, like how it was like I felt like, Hayden Christensen Anakin, just very underwhelmed, and like it's like I feel like I'm supposed to feel something at the end of this, but I don't, and I'm kind of like I just kind of want to forget about it and move on. I almost wish that there had been some kind of your mom joke or some kind. You know, it was like that's how kind of dead I was feeling at the end of it all. Uh, that's really bad. You know, it was like I almost kind of, you know, I was like I almost need a scene with Luke breastfeeding off of some weird alien. I kind of almost need that. It was like that was how numb I felt at the end of all of it.
The end was very
So,
underwhelming. It was supposed to feel like an
yeah,
in-game event.
it's like I felt like, and we've kind of gone to this. I felt like it's like okay, it's like whoever the people who wrote this movie, they're clearly trying to tell me, oh, you should feel something at this moment or that moment, but I didn't, and part of it was with the Rise of Skywalker specifically. It was like the pacing, it was constant, like plot exposition, oh, here's some light speed skipping, plot exposition, and oh, well, we're gonna go to this planet and that planet, oh, we're gonna meet, here's a cameo. It was just constant barrage of that, and you actually don't get any moment to, you don't get as much time to actually feel anything about anything that's happening.
It was a 4-hour movie stuck in a however long it was.
So yeah, whereas like,
Yep.
Yes, and that really prevented that one especially from being entertaining. It's like for something to be entertaining, I have to kind of remember what actually happened. Like, and I didn't get that. You know, it's like to be entertained by something, you actually have to be able to understand what's happening, and I actually didn't. And it's funny because I remember, you know, and one issue for me, like, you know, I used to kind of have with the prequels, at least, you know, if you're looking at this from a kind of a younger audience perspective, is that there is some politics, you know, and stuff that you kind of have to understand, that it may be hard to follow, especially like say in the Phantom Menace, and but it's like that those issues just kind of just pale in comparison to the issues I had with trying to follow Rise of Skywalker. And I was lucky in that I like read all the spoilers before watching it, so I kind of could know what to anticipate. But I can't imagine for someone who didn't have the spoilers, you know. So yeah, it's like it's, if we're just talking about entertainment, yes, they're entertaining, but if we're the value part of that and entertainment value, no. It's like exclusively, and with any movie there are parts, especially, you know, movies that are just have become kind of cult classics for people, you know, that they're, or have these very, you know, very specific fandoms. There's always going to be parts where, you know, for the most part you're laughing, you know, if you're entertained, you're laughing with the movie. And there may be some parts that just weren't written as well or executed as well, and you're laughing at the movie. I felt like with the sequels, especially when you got into The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, it's like, and there were funny parts in The Rise of Skywalker too, but it's like I'm not laughing with the movie. I'm not laughing with the people who wrote it. I'm laughing at what they produced. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. The only thing I found.
So yeah,
really funny,
I felt like, you know, kind of what?
Oh, the only thing I found that was really funny was most of C-3PO's dialogue. That's literally the only thing I found funny.
I just want to look at my friend.
And
some of it was good funny, but the rest of it was
that's the other.
No. Go ahead. Sorry.
That was frustrating. Is that I noticed in Rise of Skywalker, especially the bit with C-3PO and him and Finn and Poe, it was like, I'm like, oh, like, I'm getting like, it's like there are moments where I'm like, oh, that reminds me a little of Empire Strikes Back Han Solo C-3PO vibes. I'm like, oh, I missed that. It almost made it all the more frustrating that it's like that movie was so overwhelmed with other stuff that I didn't enjoy, that just kind of got buried.
Yeah, I agree. I think the worst part of that, though, for me was when he said, I'd taken one last look at my friends. Like, they hadn't been together once. Has Ray even met C-3PO until that movie? Like, I don't ever remember her meeting C-3PO. Does anybody else know? I desperately want to know so I can make sense of that. Because for him to say he's taking one last look, no, she didn't. For him to say that.
I think what the writers would, the story group would. I think what the argument would be is that because the Rise of Skywalker is however many years, like it's a jump from The Last Jedi, they could say, well, oh yeah, of course Rey knows C-3PO because they've, just like, oh, Rey spent all this time training Leia, but you don't.
But I mean, we're still talking about a time frame of months.
They can bury that character development in the. Agreed. But that's the point, is that they can kind of bury that character development in the interval in the void between those movies, and can claim like, oh yeah, there was character development, it just happened off screen.
Well, that takes us directly back to two things: character development and not depending on outside content. Because if you don't develop any character relationships within the movie, and then all of a sudden they have a relationship.
Really exist?
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's use Rey and C-3PO as an example. If we
it's
didn't
because
know
you fans are cheapskates who won't.
We're all cheapskates. I mean,
yep.
I feel like we are owed some sort of character development between Rey and C-3PO if we're going to have that kind of talk near the end of his supposed lifespan, if he was about to lose all his memory. Not lifespan. I'm saying things wrong. If he was about to lose all his memory of his quote-unquote friends, there should have been an indication that there was a relationship in the first place. Like, the only one that I seen C-3PO really interact with was Poe. And that's literally it. He doesn't hardly interact with anybody that isn't a legacy character. And he doesn't even react to Chewbacca, as far as I know, which is another thing.
He must have already got his memory deleted.
Must have. Apparently everybody's forgetting to react to other characters because C-3PO doesn't react to Chewie, and Chewie doesn't even hug Leia when she comes back, or when he comes back after Han had died. And yes, JJ has said they wish that he had done. Well, that's the thing. You're wishing that you had, but you should have. I mean, I don't know how you can forget to hug one of your closest friends that you've been through everything together. Not to mention that she is your friend's wife. I mean, I can go on and on about
best friend's wife, but yet the girl that you only just met a couple of days ago goes and hugs that. Okay.
Yeah. Wait, has Rey even met Leia at that point? I can't even remember.
Wait,
did she meet Leia? No. She couldn't have. She never met Leia.
She didn't.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
Oh, what the hell?
Ray and Leia act like they know each other near the end, but they hadn't even met. Oh my gosh! I'm so glad we figured this out now. I'm glad we had this
Oh my
discussion.
God,
We
that
learned
makes-
new things.
No, but I mean, that makes it so much worse.
Exactly.
Oh,
You go up and hug one character that you only heard of, never even known. Actually, it's untelling if she even heard of her. You go up and hug her because apparently you know that she's, his Han Solo's wife, and you're both sad that you lost Han Solo, but you
oh
forget
my God, it makes
two
me want to.
characters
I need to go and watch that scene again now.
Yeah, because Ray had never met anybody other than Han Solo and Finn.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody but them two that made it back to the Resistance base. Ray was taken away by Kylo before she landed on the planet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That makes
Oh,
absolutely zero
God.
sense. I didn't even think about that. I've never heard anybody mention that. And now that I've said it, I'm going to notice it and I'm going to be mad. And that was the one movie I did enjoy out of all three of them. Now I'm going to actually have a reason to not like it as much.
Oh, wow. How can you make that mistake? I mean, geez.
I think the shock has hit us pretty hard because we're just stuck on this now. I think we should just end the stream here.
Yeah.
The shock has literally just ended the entire stream.
Oh, wow.
I don't think we're going to be able to move out of this.
Oh. Oh my.
The real questions are being asked here on the Force Collective channel. You can always find us here talking and figuring new things out. So join us.
Shade.
Yes.
You need to short this section.
Yes, I do need to.
You just, the minute this stream ends, you need to get on that.
Yes. Yes, I do need to do that. This is when we realize we have a major realization. That's something that I've never heard anybody talk about. I've only heard people mention that Chewie and Leia never hugged, even though even though they both lost a mutual friend, actually more than just a friend. They both lost somebody that they both deeply cared about. One of them was married to them.
What I should say is double check first and then short this and just
I'm very
publish
positive
it everywhere.
They haven't met. I'm very positive. Rey goes directly from Jakku to Han Solo. Then Han Solo and Chewie and Rey and Finn end up going to Takadana, where they meet Maz Kanata. And then right as the castle is attacked, Kylo finds her running away in the forest because, she's running away from her problems like a true Jedi.
Oh, wait, hang on a second. Oh, sorry, continue talking.
Okay, and then, of course, she gets captured by Kylo Ren out in the forest, and the First Order is, retreating from their attack, and then Leia, after the retreat, lands on in the ground zero of where the castle was, I guess, and that's when Han Solo and Leia have their little conversation about jackets and hair. And then C-3PO shows up with his red arm that we, I guess, have to know about. Then they end up going back to whatever planet they were on, and Rey is captured on Starkiller Base. Yeah, no, they never met.
Okay, I'm unfortunately going to have to deflate everyone's I don't
What
want
is it?
there's an article about it.
Oh, there is? Dang
There
it.
is an article about it.
Oh, well.
They even
I thought we were the first. Actually, I never thought we'd be the first, but I've never seen anybody talk about it. I guess it wasn't as major of an issue as I thought it was. But that's
I do remember
insane.
people have talked about it, but
Really?
it was. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to say about it. It's literally got me so in shock right now that I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done hosting now. Somebody else can do it. I'm just at a loss
You
for
should
words.
just
oh god. Okay, hang on a second here. Let me read this out.
Oh no.
Okay. I chatted with the Star Wars Force Awakens director and producer J.J. Abrams over the phone as the film he produced, 10 Cloverfield Lane, will premiere in New York City tonight. Before I talked Cloverfield, I had to ask him one question about The Force Awakens. Why did Leia hug Rey instead of Chewbacca? He was Abrams' answer. That was probably one of the probably one of the mistakes I made in that. My thinking at the time was Chewbacca, despite the pain he was feeling, was focused on trying to save Finn and getting him taken care of. So I tried to have Chewbacca go off with him and focus on Rey, and then have Rey find Leia and Leia find Rey. The idea was both of them being strong with the Force and never having met would know about each other. That Leia would have been told about her beyond what we saw on screen, and Rey, of course, would have learnt about Leia.
See,
And that the reunion would be a meeting and a reunion all in one, and sort of commiseration at the mutual loss. So, in other words, what is it?
bad writing.
Yeah.
Look, they assumed that we would know that. That's the main problem. They assumed that we would get that.
So, in other words, it was ForceNet.
ForceNet.
They just downloaded. Well, we'll work that out later.
In the
New ability coming to ForceNet.
Well, in the great words of Viceroy Gunray, you assume too much. Yeah, that's what I say to J.J. Abrams. He assumes that he must have assumed that we would know exactly what's going on there and that nobody would have complaints about it. I mean, I don't even know where to begin on that. Look, you know what? We can talk about this in a separate stream. This will make the stream go on for 4 hours. We've already. I don't know what
really
to say.
blown our circuits.
Yeah, and you know what? Some people probably be looking at us saying, "What, you didn't notice that before?" And I'm just going to be honest. I didn't until now, and I'm
click
from the reactions that everybody else gave us, or everybody else gave me. That is, I assume you guys didn't realize it either.
Nope.
And you know what? I'm glad I'm not alone. I can feel dumb with my friends. But seriously,
yeah, let's all feel dumb together. Woo.
Yeah, we're all just one happy family, one dumb family that doesn't realize things when we should. Well, the thing is, like,
it's probably one of those sort of
It's the whole
situations of we kind of wanted it to be good, so
that's probably it. We overlooked it on purpose, even though we didn't realize we were overlooking it. I think the thing is, like, we wanted to like it so much that we wanted to overlook things. So we in turn didn't realize that there was certain mistakes there because we wanted to not see them. Does that make sense? I'm just probably
Yep.
not saying it right. But
No,
okay.
no. That's a perfect way of putting it.
Okay. But before we we go on anymore, do you have anything else to say on the whole issue, Commander Tano? Because I said I wanted to keep this short, and here we are, 25 minutes in, and we're still on Commander Tano, which she hasn't said as much over the 25 minutes. But what I'm saying is we haven't went on to anybody else yet. So you got anything else to say on that?
Part 4.
You guys are really wanting it to be a 4-hour stream.
That's it. You know, it's like I feel like
If it, 4 hours is a very long time.
Yeah, that's it. It's you know, I feel like between this and past streams, like there's just it's not just that the horse has been turned into paste. It's not even like kind of been degraded to its constituent molecules or atoms. We're like down to the quark level of how much we have, how much we have ground this horse.
Yeah,
And there is still plenty. There's still plenty to go.
That's
Soon
it.
we'll just be splitting atoms, and that gets explosive.
If we've gone, how far did you say we got down to, Commander Tano?
I thought she said a molecular level.
No, I thought she said quarks.
I would say we gotten down. We've no, but yeah, gotten down to quarks. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I misheard everything.
That's how far we've gone.
So the only thing
and if
left
anyone
is
discovers like smaller constituent parts,
energy.
Yes, energy.
We've got to beat it down to the energy.
Yes.
Annihilate those quarks and quarks
Yes.
and just get down to just return it to energy.
Oh Lord, yeah, no
idea if you can actually do that or not, but
well, if we can, I don't want to do it in this stream. We can say
that's
that
part
for
4 or 5.
Part 4, or maybe even the 6. Look, we're just doing a whole Star Wars trilogy ourselves. 6 movies, 6 streams. Yeah,
sounds good.
So, Sir Hailway. Oh, this is going to be a rant. I know it. But I'm welcoming it, even though I know it's going to probably turn us into a 4-hour stream. Go ahead and give me your entertainment value opinion on it, I guess, and an example. Hopefully, maybe we keep it short, but I'll let you do what you do. So go ahead.
It is entertaining in the same way The Room is entertaining.
You might have to elaborate. I've never watched that.
You go, what?
I really haven't.
Oh Jesus. I can't remember the guy's name. Give me a second.
I regret telling you I didn't watch it. Now we're going to have a longer rant.
No, to make it really simple. The Room was a movie.
What have you done?
That was so badly written and directed and acted that everyone found it entertaining.
Is that the one with Brie Larson?
No. The director's name is Tommy Wiseau. It was his first movie, and just some of the acting in it was just so bad it was hilarious.
But the actress is Brie Larson, right? The main character, I think.
No, actually the main character is Tommy Wiseau. It was produced, directed, and main star Tommy Wiseau. And
But she's there. I mean, she's not the main character, but she's there.
is she?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now in Google, and yeah, she's in the room. She's the one holding the kid.
Oh, that makes perfect sense then. If it's her.
Might be looking at the wrong movie.
2015 movie?
Nope. 2003.
Oh,
Oh no, that's a different movie. But it's the same name. It's called Room.
No, The Room. Not Room.
Oh, I see.
The Room.
Well, now I want to watch it because, you know, I want to experience this.
It became so popular that they actually made a docu-movie about it called The Disaster Artist.
I like the name.
But yeah, The Room became a bit like a cultural phenomenon. And made Tommy Wiseau actually quite famous. But the sequel trilogy is very much like The Room. I was going to say The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, but now after realizing that thing with Leia, no! All of the movies!
I think we might just have to start the whole discussion over now that we know about this. Because we've said so much about the...
But I mean, it was
movie.
probably one of those things that we did realize, but we weren't so cognitive about it.
I never realized it. That never came to my mind once. All I seen was Chewie walking past her, and that's all I seen.
Yeah.
I think I was overwhelmed by the fact that Chewie didn't hug her. That I didn't pay attention to the fact that they had just met and hugged each other.
And it kind of did feel like, you know, what happens in the movies type of situation. It was such a cliche that you only saw the cliche. You didn't really see what was behind it type situation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It is very much sort of, I think for most people, it's the same sort of entertainment value as The Room. As in, oh my god, this is so bad, and why, what, ha, I don't get this, this is absolutely horrible, and I'm kind of laughing.
Well.
But the sequel trilogy being entertaining in the ways of actually being an entertaining movie, the simple answer is no.
Well, that's a good answer. I'm agreeing with that. Actually, you know what? Before you go on, I am taking a point away from the sequel trilogy for that new realization. So they're down to 3 points instead of 4. And I mean, unless you guys want me to add a point for entertainment value, no. Okay, then they're down to 3. Like that right there. That was heresy. I'm still stuck on that. You know what? I'm going to shut up because I'm going to continue to talk about it because, you know, I'm stuck. I'm stuck at this point and I don't know what else to say. So go ahead.
Stuck in a loop.
I'm stuck in a loop.
Spin me right round, baby, right round like a record.
Now we're going to get copyrighted. How dare you? They're going to strike us down.
Because I was performing.
Oh man, that's true.
That's how it works, right?
I guess maybe I don't know. I'm still new.
Well, maybe we can ask the general counsel of the
the
Force Collective.
Yeah, Commander Tano, our legal expert. Yeah.
No, but Yeah, no, frankly, that's really all I can sort of say about it. Yeah, you know, does it have an entertainment value? Only as a horse to beat, not so much as a movie to watch.
Well, quick question. If you separate it from Star Wars, would it be entertaining then? Like, let's say this trilogy has nothing at all to do with Star Wars. Let's replace all the Star Wars elements with something that would be a little more realistic. Like, instead of lightsabers, it's just real swords, or instead of blasters, it's real guns. So let's just take all that away. Would that still be? And you know what? Before
are we just putting it on a planet, or is it still a space story?
No, put it on a planet, just different areas on the planet. And
So-
certain parts of that planet got destroyed by a moon station thing. I don't know. I'm not like trying to recreate. I'm just trying to say, let's take all the Star Wars out of it for a second and compare it to, or not compare it, but let's judge it by itself for just a second. What would you say then?
Do they still have force abilities?
I mean, maybe you can say magical abilities, and I'm saying, let's just try to separate from Star Wars for a second. If it wasn't a Star Wars movie, would it be good? Or not even just the movie itself, but the trilogy. And
No.
I would have disagreed before, but I don't now.
Even if you divorced it from Star Wars, and changed absolutely nothing, it would still all fall flat on its face. Because, essentially, world building. There was none of it.
True.
I don't think you could even get away with, it's just magic. I kind of would sort of agree in sort of saying it might make a little bit more sense, because seeing how we don't have any prejudice against the magic system,
True.
You might be able to get away with hey, she can do all this because magic.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was trying to say. Like, if you separate from Star Wars and what we already know, and it sort of goes into what I was saying about Star Wars Visions. It's not connected. It's not canon. It's meant to be its own thing. If you learn to separate that from the current lore that we have, you can appreciate it for what it is. So that's what I'm trying to say about the sequel trilogy. Can you do that? I mean, I say no now, but if you asked me before The Rise of Skywalker, I would have said yes, and I can explain that later. But now I say no, and that's because The Rise of Skywalker ruined that. But go ahead. I just wanted to say my piece.
See, even then, I would probably sort of still say no, even if you sort of turned it into a high fantasy film and just kept it on one planet type situation, with some way of destroying an entire city with a blast. Mainly because, you would still have the hero captured, and we're now standing in front of the big bad, and then, he gets bisected. Okay.
That's true.
It still wouldn't work. It might be a little bit more entertaining because of it. Sort of, it might more feel sort of like the Dungeons and Dragons movie, where it's sort of a case of there is entertainment on how bad this film is.
Well, the
and
thing is,
and
Oh, go ahead,
you
Jake.
might be able to get a little bit more entertainment out of some of the acting in it. Have you guys seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
I don't think I have.
It is really bad, but there are some really good points, mainly the antagonists overacting. It really much sort of made the movie worthwhile. And from memory, I think it was Jeremy Irons. But yeah, he did such a good job at being the bad guy. It kind of saved the movie a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, though, the sequel was so much better than the first movie. And it had like one fifth of the budget. And yes, it was Jeremy Irons, and he just did such a crazy job at being the bad guy that it elevated the movie. And that was mainly due to the absolute crazy amount of overacting he did. Very much sort of like the Street Fighter movie, and the lead antagonist in that movie.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much. But the thing is that the Star Wars movie just would not have any of that. True. And so I don't think it would even sort of well, let's just say, just using The Force Awakens, it wouldn't get a sequel.
Yeah.
So
well,
it still probably wouldn't work.
Well, the reason why I say that it would have worked, or I would have agreed that it could have worked before The Last Jedi or before The Rise of Skywalker, is because at the time, the reason why you probably disagree with me now on that is because we know how the trilogy ends. At the time, we didn't know how it would end. And a lot of people were speculating that maybe Snoke was a clone and that he'd return in the next movie. And, that could have worked. That really could have worked. Then we could have gotten like a lot more on Snoke in the next movie. It could have been like his origin. We learn about him and why he cloned himself, or this or that. Like it. That's why I say it probably could have worked if it was its own thing before The Rise of Skywalker came out.
But the thing is that there was so many holes and
of course,
all that in The Force Awakens that it probably would not have gotten. The only reason a sequel exists is because it was Star Wars, not
That's
because
true.
it was a good movie.
That's true.
They
were going to do a trilogy either way.
Yeah, The Force Awakens would have probably been an okay one and done movie.
That's how A New Hope was designed. It was designed to be a one and done. But it was able to spawn more sequels, not because they had to, but because it was that good of a movie at the time. See, that's the difference between The Force Awakens and A New Hope.
The Force Awakens probably would have worked as a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
Would it have got a sequel? God, no. Would it have become as famous and as we need to watch this? Not by itself. It would have needed some form of external sort of, hey, we like J.J. Abrams' movie, so we're going to watch the new J.J. Abrams movie. Not, hey, this is a good movie, we're going to watch it again. So removing it from Star Wars removes any chance of it getting a sequel. It could have worked as a forgettable popcorn flick that you might sort of, oh, it's on TV. Yeah, I'm going to sit down and watch it because, well, there's nothing else on TV and I've got 2 hours to kill. But as a cultural phenomena, no.
Well, before we continue on, I will have to probably leave pretty soon, so I'm going to try to wrap this up. I have to do something at 9:30, so I gotta get ready for that.
Part 4.
Yeah, part 4. We haven't even gotten into nostalgia yet. Nostalgia versus fan service. That might be a whole discussion in of itself. So, Lord, part 4. Here we come, boys. Dang it! I thought we were going to get somewhere. We barely got anywhere in this one. I think we got a lot farther in a lot of the other ones, but this stream we've only gotten through one element.
Don't forget to watch Vision so we can talk about it next.
That too.
Maybe put off part 4 for
Yes.
That's what I was
for a
thinking.
week.
So
Visions next week.
Give the horse a chance to be beaten another week.
Yeah. We'll give the horse a chance to catch
Pull its
breath, I
atoms
guess.
back together.
Yes. So I'll let Chrono
Reconstitute
say his
itself.
reconstitute. Yeah. So I'll let.
And then the beatings start again.
I'll let Chrono say his piece about this, and I might give a short thing about it, and then we're going to end the stream. But next stream, we're taking a break. This is exactly what I've been thinking the whole time. Because, man, I'm telling you, this is taking a lot longer to get through than I thought it would. Next stream, yes, we will be talking about Visions, but also, and I've been talking about doing this, we're going to go through or we're going to try to, if everything works out, we're going to try to go through the Sequel Trilogy memes subreddit and just look at some of our favorite memes through that. And or even if we find even if we can find, or hopefully we can find a favorite. I can't say words. Hopefully we can find some good ones that aren't just trying to defend the sequel trilogy or put down the prequel or original trilogy or just anything like that.
If not, we can just laugh at their pitiful defenses.
Yes, exactly. Those things mean nothing to us. We will literally just laugh it off. We'll pull a Luke from the Last Jedi where he gets blasted 100 times and then just walks out of the
brushes it off
and whatever. Yeah, brushes it off like it's just but a scratch. Not even a scratch. What are you talking about? But
a scratch would be too much damage.
That's true. You can't scratch a force projection. All right. So Chrono, real quick, entertainment value, and if you did find it entertaining, give an example of what you were entertained by.
Well, maybe not the entire trilogy, but yeah, The Force Awakens, I think, has enough entertainment. Like you said, it would be in its best interest to be separated from Star Wars, to be looked at. And by doing that, yeah, you can find the movie itself is not, it doesn't suck, it's not a mess. It's just bad Star Wars. I actually think the same of Solo. Solo is not exactly a terrible movie. It's just terrible Star Wars. So yeah, I think the Force Awakens being the best example of entertainment value. I mean, it has some cool battle scenes, and well, the whole thing at Takodana, it's not bad. It's an entertainment fight. And that's pretty much it, because the movie itself doesn't have that much going for it.
Yeah.
And on the other movies, yeah, that you have some chases, some space battles. The movies are pretty enough to look at so that you won't get bored. And the only reason we all dislike them so much is because of the way they treat the original movies.
Yeah.
But it's not that they are not entertained in movies. Just we don't like them as Star Wars. That's pretty much the issue.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like I was saying earlier. Oh, she disappeared. Like I was saying earlier, I would almost. Well, I'm less likely to say it now than I was before, but I would almost have said that this trilogy could have worked out if the Rise of Skywalker wasn't part of it right now. I would have said, yeah, there's a possibility this could have worked out. If they had continued what they started, or if they had finished what they started, with what the Force Awakens set up in The Last Jedi, that would have helped. But they could have also tried to fill in some of those holes in the final movie if the whole story was consistent. The problem is
Competency.
the Rise of Skywalker backtracked. Now, given I like The Rise of Skywalker better than The Last Jedi, but that's because it feels like it's the sequel to The Force Awakens, but also the final episode of the trilogy at the same time, which doesn't work. Like I said, the only reason why I like it is or like it better is because it feels like it's a true successor for the most part for The Force Awakens. It's just sad that they tried to put two movies into one. It's like he was trying to ignore The Last Jedi and for the sake of having three movies in a trilogy, he tried to fit the plot of two movies into one. So, which doesn't work. That's why that movie fails. The Last Jedi sets up some weird things that it ignores everything in The Force Awakens apparently, and uses what The Force Awakens has built to build its own thing rather than build on what they've already built. The Rise of Skywalker uses what had already been built by The Force Awakens and sort of The Last Jedi, but tried to also it tried to add on, but also at the same time build its own thing with those pieces that were left. But that's why it didn't work. They would have probably been better off to continue the story of The Last Jedi and maybe could have made that story make so much more sense in the end, but they didn't. And that's why the whole trilogy itself loses entertainment value. But if I wanted to rank the movies themselves, I would say that the only one that has that entertainment value that I'm looking for is The Force Awakens.
And it's funny because the Force Awakens,
Yep.
it got a Lego game, and the Lego game is better than the movie.
Yeah.
It took some
Yeah.
it took some liberties with it and changed a few things and added some missions, and that was all it took to make it better than the movie.
It gave us more story than the movie actually did.
It did.
And that also stems back to the not depending on outside content, which is, if it takes a Lego game or a Lego special to tell a story that should have been told in the movie itself failed what it was supposed to do. Which is why, as far as entertainment value goes, I hit my toe. The sequel trilogy fails. And that's because it's mainly because it is a part of Star Wars. We have so many expectations when it comes to Star Wars, and these people over Star Wars now are like, it's because of those, huh?
And they were subverted.
Yeah, they were subverted, all right. They're like, how dare you have expectations for a franchise that you grew up with? How dare you think that we should go along
money
with
on so much money on it that we decided to buy it.
Because we thought it'd make us a lot of money too, apparently. Which, unfortunately for them, I don't think it is making them as much money as they wanted it to.
No,
It
it's
might
not.
have at first, because they
No.
used to put out the merchandise that they don't now. Like I was mentioning in a previous episode of Star Wars Topics, like I've went through the toy aisles of our Walmart down here, and there's absolutely nothing. The only thing I ever see now is just those $35 uh, big baby Yoda things that they have, and that's literally it. I never
Because
see a
Baby
Black
Yoda
Series or
sells.
exactly. I never see a Black Series figure, which also sells pretty good. The only problem is they don't seem to get a big variety of them, so they don't sell as much. They don't have any of the vintage series. They don't have even any of the kids like Star Wars figures that don't have much articulation. They're just cheaply made. They don't even have those. That's because kids aren't interested in these toys that they got because they're kid. A lot of kids don't seem to be interested in the new Star Wars. I mean, of course, a lot of people like to say that um, these people are mad at something that they should have grown out of a long time ago. And I'm thinking if it was that big a part of your life, you probably won't grow out of it. Exactly. I mean, that's to say Star Wars is one thing. Like if it's like, let's say like a kids show like down here Blue's Clues or something like that. If you love that show like you love Star Wars and you're like, let's say 50 years old, you might have a problem. I don't know. It just depends on how anybody views that. If you are like that into Blue's Clues where you buy merchandise even up to your 50s, you might have a problem. But that's not the same for Star Wars.
Stop
Star
it.
Wars is
Seek help.
Star Wars is different. It's not meant for just kids. It was also meant for adults. It was meant for everybody. And as much misinformation as they try to spread about how it was made just for men, and that's why there's mainly male characters, that's not true. At a time, we didn't care who was what. We didn't care if the main character was male or female. We cared about the story, which is why a lot of people got mad at the prequels, because it wasn't because there was not enough male or not enough female. There was enough male, if you want to go by today's standards. If it's not that there wasn't enough female characters, it's that it's more of a technical thing rather than the actual story and the fact that gender and race hasn't been represented properly. That's all they think about nowadays, is whether that stuff is represented properly. And
Are all the check boxes ticked? No, quick, get more minorities.
yeah, exactly. So that's the major problem, and that's also the major differences between the old and the new.
The toy issue has been going on for ages. I mean, I remember distinctively that one of the arguments to get rid of the Clone Wars was that they failed to sell the toys to kids. I mean, by that time they were already out of it. I mean, kids didn't care about Star Wars toys. To be very fair, it's us buying the toys, not kids.
The ones that collect the stuff, that
Yeah.
have very fond memories of this stuff.
Just like video games. They're not for kids because kids don't have any money to buy the video games.
That's why they make a lot of games for adults.
Yeah.
That's why you see a lot of M-rated or T-rated games out there instead of like little E-rated games or anything like that. I mean, yeah, they got the E-rated game. Nintendo specializes in that. But that's mainly for the parents that want to give their kids something like what they had in the old days when they all had those big Nintendo NESs and all that stuff, and like,
but I mean,
we know this stuff.
even some of the SNES games weren't exactly kid friendly.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, what I'm saying is, a lot of parents will be more likely to buy a game from a Nintendo console for their kid rather than, let's say, Xbox, because when you think of kids games, you think of Mario or like Legend of Zelda or Sonic or something like that. which Sonic is like on Sega Genesis. It's not exactly a Nintendo game, but it's
It is now.
Well, yeah, that you got the Mario versus Sonic Olympics or something like that. But what I'm saying is, like, when you think of a kids game, you think of that. When you go to Xbox, what kids games can you really think of? Like, what games? I mean, besides the games that come out on all platforms, like, let's talk exclusively Xbox or PlayStation here for a second. You think of franchises on those, you think of Halo for Xbox because that's its flagship title. I mean, it's got a few more, but then on PlayStation, you think of, let's say, Last of Us because that's one of their big hitting exclusives. Neither of those are kids games. They're not for kids. They were made for teens and adults, 17 and older.
No, they were just made for teens.
Well, a lot of teens and kids ended up playing it because either their parents don't care or they're secretly doing it. Either way, if you have those really overprotective parents that are like, yeah, no, we're not going to let you play anything above either E10 or rated T, because some parents are very strict on that kind of thing. Not saying they're wrong. I'm not one to judge anybody's parenting. But the thing is,
no, let's judge.
I think they are.
I am not going to judge. Why would I do that? I'm no parent. I
hate to cut in, but I have to run. But this was fun. Maybe we'll have a judge session next time.
Yeah, Star Wars Judgment. That's what the next one's going to be. Star Wars Judgment, where we judge things. All right. Well, we'll see you later. Glad you were able to show up.
Things.
That's true. It's more.
Every.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like every stream is a judge session, in some sense.
That's true. This whole going to be 4-part series is one long judge session about the sequels, practically. I mean, yes, I'm trying to take score, and yeah, it is wonderful. I mean, I am trying to look at both sides. I am trying to give the sequel trilogy some slack here, but it's pulling itself down. I can't raise it up all the way, it needs a lot of help, and I can't do it alone. And clearly nobody else is going to help me raise it up, and nor would I want you to, because it'll take more than
just us to deserve it.
It don't deserve it. But it was great for you to join us, and we're getting ready to end the stream anyway. You know what? That's a good note to leave it on right there, I guess. We can continue this later. I'll go ahead and end the stream because I have to be somewhere in just a little bit. So if you enjoyed, please leave a like, leave a comment. Join us on the Discord. I will always mention the Discord as long as I remember it, but we're also on Twitch now. We didn't get to stream last Tuesday, and it won't be like an every week thing. Sometimes I'll probably have to skip. I'll try to put videos out too, especially Halo Infinite. Like I said, I got invited to the flight, so hopefully I can get some videos out for that. But yeah, so we're on Twitch. Follow us on Twitch. The links are in the description below. And yeah, so I don't usually end this quickly or this efficiently, but you know what? We're going to end it right now. So we will see you later. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining. And those that watch, thank you for watching. And may the force be with you always.